That's what I'm like, it's for residents, go to pick up the resolution.
The only question that we have is from Jeff Martin, another bad.
So, I saw your name, I was like, I know you're. Yeah, no, actually, I know.
This is a 4-pager and maybe we double sided. And make like 10 of these and 10 of these and. Show me how.
Yeah, it's just like, it's that's not that, resolution that we were over here from. Essentially, so they're in a- say,
Going well, but I do that next minute. But next year, we guys do, because we'll have. Pretty sure we have a read. Yeah, say it was a great year. Yeah, over $150,000 in that, that's all. Whatever you know.
Yeah.
We're staying on with just so you know. Yeah, they come here, you don't come. Of course, the need to start selling. Regular here in Swanee. Every half an hour.
Yeah, and then,
Yeah, I know the people, yeah, you'd like to see them.
that's where, it just seems like. They just talk about everything's in order.
We're looking out. So we're going serious, yeah.
Yeah, had him on his ride down as he's going 60 miles an hour on a small road.
Yeah, I did, it just text message to your BA.
Yeah.
Oh, it's,
First $20
yeah.
What's up, Dan? Thank you again. Thank you again for
Right.
That's what I said. Okay, so. There he is. That's a question for you.
Yeah.
Oh, great.
Hopefully you and I agree on the.
Okay.
Instead of camp over here. It's in that box.
Unfortunately, what it says.
Chance?
Can I get you to sign up?
Sign in.
That was the 242. That's the silly resolution they make.
Got it.
Awesome.
Is she happy?
Our new rec sign?
Whoa. Yeah, it's like legit classy.
Easy to change.
Who is?
Yeah, put letters in.
New sign, who this?
Is it up?
Yeah, yeah.
Is that a real picture?
Yeah.
It's a perfect drawing or like a, it's really beautiful.
And we kept no lights, just so, you know.
Yeah, no, I like no lights, you know that.
Those are the common letters. Like you have to put individual letters in it. Like old school. Oh my God.
You're right. Crazy.
Try to say something else.
Right? Like,
But I like these ones, I'm gonna deal with it.
Yeah, well, they want it as electronic, right?
in our time, it has a call sign and they have a letter.
Yeah.
And someone can, on like this giant A-frame on it, they're taking out the, and they're trying to like not misspell
They're
it.
happy to take
One down, toss it around. Take one down. pass
And
it
then
around.
leave one for Alan.
I got it, did it?
Don't tell me you got new cars, you got new cars.
No, 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 this is, yeah, I'm sure we're. I signed it.
This is good.
Matt, favor? These are extras for the public, when you just put them out there. Yeah, just put them out, just put them there.
Here you go. I gave one to Al already, so
Okay.
he's all set. I thought we're skipping the stuff, so.
We are, I
Yeah.
know. There was another.
Wait.
It's a two-pager, you're supposed
Yeah.
to like take.
I got 2 pages.
Want to show you this?
Yeah.
I'm gonna rec sign.
Don't look, I just think it's fine.
That's classic.
What? No, I didn't like. Yeah, I just like you got it.
Hi, Paul.
Yeah, it's fine.
You're giving out the stuff, yeah.
Oh, yes, yes. I did see that.
I don't like people even.
It's not handing out money.
It's not, okay, yes, it's not, I think.
Is it a shot glass?
Yeah. It's during COVID, right?
We were being extra careful then. Yeah. We stayed in emergency. 2 years.
So don't even acknowledge it. Thanks, Joe.
I like it.
Cheers.
Don't worry.
I am.
You know what I mean?
We need to order, stand for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I wish to announce that the 48-hour notice is required under the Open Public Meetings Act was emailed to the Asbury Park Press, the Coast Star, and the New Coaster on December the 19th of 2024. That a copy has been placed on the bulletin board in the borough office and that a copy has been filed with the municipal clerk. As a courtesy to the public, this meeting may be attended via Zoom. If for any reason Zoom fails or is disconnected, the in-person meeting will continue without interruption and action can and will be taken provided that there is an in-person quorum. Ms. DeNoble? Here. Ms. Greenblatt? Here. Mr. Nowicki?
Here.
Mr. Weber?
Here.
Mayor Guvitosi?
Here. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Our next item on our agenda would be workshops. However, I'm going to make a motion that we go slightly out of order and move to item 6, presentations of bids, because we do have some folks visiting us that I'd like them to be able to get on their way, and then we'll proceed with the rest of the meeting. So a motion to momentarily skip item 5 on the agenda, workshops, move to presentations of bids.
Second. Ms. DeNoble?
Yes.
Ms. Greenblatt?
Yes.
Mr. Nowicki?
Yes.
Mr. Weber?
You're skipping my stuff by doing this.
Yeah. Mr. Weber has been skipped. This stuff has been skipped.
Yes.
So item 6, presentations of bids. Want to open up with a presentation led by the Office of Emergency Management. And that would be Mr. Norman Goldfarb, our OEM director. And we have a special guest joining us as well that I'll let Mr. Goldfarb introduce.
Thank you very much, Mayor. Among several functions of Bradley Regional's Emergency Management, we are tasked with helping the public be aware and prepared for natural disasters such as hurricanes. We suggest for further information that you go to Bradley Beach website, where preparedness information is located along with sign-up information for emergency notification system to receive mobile, text, and email alerts. And if you would like to, we should have some handouts in the back that you can take with you. Our guest, Joe Martucci, is a well-respected meteorologist and the owner of Cup of Joe Weather and Drone, based in Monmouth County. He's a certified broadcast and digital meteorologist for social media, which reaches 750,000 people monthly. He also appears on News 12, New Jersey. Thank you very much.
Appreciate being here today and being here at Bradley Beach. I was telling the mayor before that when I was growing up, I grew up in Union, New Jersey. This was our spot. We went to the beach. I'm not lying. We had our family friends, the Jumeos who lived in Roselle Park, and when we became friends with them, we came on down here to Bradley Beach. So it's nice to be here, and it's a small way. It kind of feels like home. And it's of course close to my home. I live in Tin Falls, not too far away from here. So I want to talk a little bit about hurricane season. I feel like, well, it's timely for a few reasons. One, we're in hurricane season. Two, when we talk about hurricanes, we really have to focus on the water, not the wind. And obviously what happened yesterday in Union and Somerset counties was very unfortunate and rival what we saw in Hurricane Ida in 2021 and in Tropical Storm Floyd in 1999 in regards to 5 to 8 inches of rain in just a few hours. Route 22 was flooded for 1 to 2 feet. We didn't see that here, thankfully, but we did see about 1.5 to 2 inches of rain in most of Monmouth County. Just to turn on to maybe a little bit of a lighter note, this is a good trivia question. So if you're at the bar and anyone asks, when was the last time New Jersey had a landfalling hurricane? Does anybody know? Anyone take a guess?
Andrew?
Andrew? God.
Which one? 1987 Hurricane Gloria.
So a lot of people say Gloria, but it's not Gloria. I'm sorry.
Is it
And
right?
and I skipped over you. Does that help? I know, I'm not making a good first impression. No, it was actually 1903.
Oh.
That's the last time we had a landfalling hurricane in New Jersey. It was the Vagabond Storm. It was a Category 1 hurricane that made landfall in Atlantic City. In other words, we're due. Sandy, go ahead.
Because
Absolutely.
all these other ones were
down to being tropical storm strength like Sandy and like where, right?
Exactly, yeah, so it's not like we haven't been impacted by tropical systems, we have Irene in 2011, Sandy, of course, but technically a landfalling hurricane, the last time was 23, excuse me, 22, years ago. So when it comes to hurricane season this year, the short story is we're expecting about an average kind of season for the Atlantic hurricane basin. Well, that's great, but what does that mean for New Jersey, right? There could be 20 hurricanes or tropical storms. If they don't make landfall here, we probably don't care, right? And rightfully so. It could be vice versa. We could have one storm. If we have one storm and it hits New Jersey, we're gonna remember it forever being an active year for us, even though there was only one storm in all the Atlantic hurricane basin. So, in terms of the forecast, it's from Colorado State University. You might think, why is a doubly landlocked state doing hurricane forecasts? Like most things in life, it had to do with where the money was, and that's where the money was for funding back in the 80s. But in New Jersey, we look to have a 26% chance of a landfalling tropical storm or hurricane this season. For reference sake, on average, there's a 23% chance. So we're pretty much there. It's a 1 in 4 chance of being within 50 miles of the Jersey Shore. There's an 8% chance for a hurricane to make landfall. Hurricanes sustain winds 74 miles an hour or greater. That's about the average, which is 7. And again, we haven't seen a hurricane technically make landfall in 122 years here. The last time we saw a landfalling tropical storm was back in 2020, when we had Tropical Storm Faye and Tropical Storm Isaias hit here. And I wouldn't blame you if you forgot about them because Tropical Storm Faye was so weak. I was in Brigantine watching the eye go over Brigantine and people were jet skiing in the bay. That's how weak this storm was. Isaias brought a lot of wind, but not a lot of rain. So we might not remember that. Anyway, so in terms of how good these forecasts are, right? If you can have any forecast, it's not good, it doesn't matter. Colorado State University has a very good track record. In terms of its skill, it's on a -1 to 1 scale. I won't get into the details, but it's a 0.59 in their accuracy, which is they're about 80% accurate, in other words, which is pretty good when you're forecasting months in advance. Some factors for this year's hurricane season. If you guys have been in the ocean the past couple of days, you know it's warm. I was in the water on Sunday, it was great. That warm water, not only here in New Jersey, but in the central and central and western Atlantic, really can be a hotbed for tropical activity. Typically, when water temperatures are over 80 degrees, we see an increased likelihood of hurricane formation. We're not in El Nino this year. We're not in La Nina. Typically, when you're talking about hurricane season, you're looking at those factors. We're in a neutral state. If you want to be funny, you can call it La Nada. That's what some people call it. But that's what we're in for this year. And then we also look at something called analog years. What are years that have similar setups to this, this year so far? So Colorado State went back years that were similar to 2025. I'll read them off quickly. There's 6 of them here. 1996, that was nothing. 1999, that's when we had Floyd. 2006, we had Hurricane Ernesto well offshore, but it brought strong winds here to Bradley Beach. 2008, nothing. 2011, which was Irene, and we know what happened then. And in 2017, hurricane season, again, about a 1 in 4 chance of being impacted by a storm fairly directly. That doesn't mean we don't get residual rain. We saw that in Ida in 2021, especially in the northeast corner of the state. But just to go back to the beginning with the 1903 hurricane, that was the last hurricane that came to shore in New Jersey. That had $263 million in damage in today's dollars. Well, what happened since then? Well, we had a hurricane in 1944 that didn't make landfall, but was offshore. That brought $741 million in damage. Then we had a 1962 nor'easter, which if you're in some places of the Jersey Shore, especially in Cape May County, they would say it's worse than Sandy. $1.24 billion in damage, and Sandy was $38 billion. In other words, it doesn't take a landfalling tropical system to bring major impacts to New Jersey when it comes to storms. And I like to say we essentially have a 12-month hurricane season, because if it's not the hurricanes, it's the nor'easters that we can get during the year that can bring just as strong as winds. I know we don't really get a lot of tidal flooding on back days here, but they do bring to the shore, some parts, a lot of the tidal flooding there. we always have to be aware. And, you know, I'm very fortunate to know Norm and Dan and Bob here and everyone at Bradley Beach OEM who's we haven't known each other for long, but I feel like we've known each other for long and appreciate their relationship. And it's always good to be here in Bradley Beach. So I'll just wrap up quickly about what I do with my business here. There's 3 lanes. What I do, weather advertising. I help businesses advertise through weather media. Like Norm said, reach about 750,000 people a month in social media. Shore counties. I'm the only place that covers the shore and the shore only. Monmouth County, as we know, kind of gets covered by New York City media, kind of doesn't. You know, Philadelphia stations don't cover here, and a lot of newspapers. I used to work in newspapers, so I love newspapers, but they just don't have the weather coverage that some of the, you know, that I can provide. I'm also a commercial drone pilot, so I teach at Kane Ocean County College, teach 2 drone classes there. Do drone footage all around the Jersey Shore, done over 40 towns, and I help towns just like here in Bradley Beach, stay coastal resilient and help towns reduce their flood insurance rate through the community rating system program, where Bradley Beach is a class 7. And I know it's small areas that are in flood zone, you guys see a 15% discount in flood insurance. The town of Avalon and Cape May County signed on with me last week to help them in that as well. So with that being said, I'm happy to take any questions about hurricane season, or the rest of the summer, how humid it's gonna be. I don't know how much snow we're gonna get next winter, but if you want me back in November, I can maybe tell you that too. But I appreciate the time. I'll take any questions you guys have, but thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Does the council have any questions?
Great presentation, thank
Yes,
you.
thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Martin. Another unusual gesture on the council's behalf, but if any of our audience members would like to ask Mr. Martucci a question, raise your hand and we'll let you direct a couple questions. Nothing out there? Anyone on Zoom? Okay, once again, then, thank you, Mr. Martucci.
Thank you.
Okay, let's continue with item 6. John, I'm gonna ask you to kind of go in reverse order. If you wouldn't mind doing your presentation on the 5-minute beach cleanup.
Sure thing. 5-minute beach cleanup. This is the part where I need a little help from Michelle. If she could put up that one slide. I gave the council one of these. If anybody's super curious, there's a couple of these, just a few, but on paper up in the front, if you want to grab it. Most of you know I do environmental work, and while I wouldn't say it's completely original to like it hasn't been done anywhere else, the town that did this first in these parts is Seagirt, and we have Councilman Brian Perry here from Seagirt and his 2 daughters, and they've done this in Seagirt, and they can tell us like how long ago and how's it going, and just tell us about the 5-minute beach cleanup, and introduce yourself when you stand up. So go ahead. Oh yeah, come on up. Tag team it. Great.
Well, thank you for everyone for having us. My name is Hope and I'm Charlotte. So yeah, we're from Seagirt. Like you mentioned before, our dad is Brian Perry. He's on council in Seagirt, and we're super excited that the 5-minute beach cleanup has reached Bradley. That's the goal, for it to continue spreading all across the shore. We got the idea for it when we were on vacation in Costa Rica, and we remember seeing it and just thinking that it was a really cool project we wanted to start in our town. So we were just hoping that by making the beach cleanup on our beaches, people would see it and be more encouraged to clean up the beaches than having to get the supplies themselves and like making the time themselves to do it. When they were just taking a walk on the boardwalk, they would see it and just spend at least like 5 minutes of their time cleaning the beach.
All right. Now wait, where in Costa Rica? Now I have to know.
It was Nosara.
And no star. Fantastic. Okay. So that is fantastic. Oh yeah. So when did you start this in Seagirt, and how's it been going in your opinion?
We started it in the summer of 2023, and then so last year was the first like full year of it being out. We think it's gone really well. When we go to like collect every few months the bags from the stands, we see that sometimes some things are missing, but like for a majority, like the bags would be filled with trash or empty because they've been brought to the trash lists that are at all the beaches in Seagirt.
Right. That is awesome. So I'm gonna have some other people come up and do some color commentary, but thank you, Hope. Thank you, Charlotte. I really appreciate you. Sharon, thank you. I have heard about this elsewhere, and they had baskets, like the kind of basket you would get at the supermarket. And I said, you know, this is New Jersey. I think people are gonna steal a basket. No, so when I saw it with the bags, I was much more enthusiastic about it. And we had a resident here in town, Evie Corella. Where'd you go? There you are.
Hi.
If you want, yeah, come up. So Evie approached me and said, hey, I saw this thing in Seagirt, right?
Yes, thank you for having me today. I'm happy to be here and I was riding my bike last fall through Seagirt and I saw the program, and as Mr. Weber said, I had also seen similar programs in other shore areas along the coast. And thinking that the baskets or the buckets wouldn't work either. And when I saw that, I thought this is a great idea. We know that there are many residents in Bradley Beach who would love to, have something like this because I hear many times people, I should have brought a bag with me to clean up the beach or, trying to bring a bag, remembering to bring a bag with them to clean up the beach while they're taking a walk along the beach. We know that when we have more oysters, if the beach can get pretty messy, especially in the off season when they're not cleaned up by our guys here that work in the town. So I thought this was a great idea. When I presented it I sent Mr. Weber an email. He checked with Seagirt and found this lovely family who's doing it in Seagirt, and off we go. So we're thrilled that, we're at that point where we can maybe get this implemented in Bradley Beach.
We were about there. So I'm gonna tell everybody how it's actually gonna work on TV. So I talked to Biagio, DPW, you have the trash bins, the trash and recycling bins on the boardwalk, the wooden ones that contain both. On the side of that, there's gonna be a hook. On the hook are gonna be these, mesh reusable bags. And that sign, and we put the Bradley Beach logo on it. And this is the best part, because like Evie said last fall when she came to me, notice it's midsummer, a business in town, it's Love Light Handmade, they have the pottery, they teach pottery, it's like pottery and candles and, he came up, he said this exact same thing, hey, I saw this, I wanna do this, and he said, I'd be willing to bring it to town. I said, well, do you wanna pay for a few signs? And he said, yeah, so we're gonna do 3 spots in town, north, central, and south. And if that all goes swimmingly, we'll open it up to other businesses, if other businesses wanna, put their logo on a sign like this, and we'll ask Biagio and DPW to put up a few more hooks and a few more reusable bags, but as far as I can tell, we're bringing this to the town without any expense to the town, so super happy to steal an idea and happy to, have people help us get it done, so that's kind of it, so just shout out to Mike and Olivia at Love Light Handmade, they couldn't make it tonight, but they are basically paying for these signs, so now that we've done this officially, Biagio has to do it because now it's official, we've talked about it, and no, he said it's no problem and it'll be up soon, so that's it.
I love this program. This is excellent.
Okay, take pictures of yourself cleaning the beach, promote it or something. So, that's kind of it. Thank you so much to our guests. If you want to stay, we got some good stuff coming up. Let's get this stuff especially, but no, there's some good stuff, but if you gotta go, you gotta go. But thanks very much.
Thank you.
We appreciate it.
Yeah.
Try to give us.
Thank you very much. And let's see, I know, want to move back to, at any point in time,
You want to do the night out?
no, I was gonna say Mr. Martucci can leave.
Thank
you.
Thank you,
Oh.
sir.
Thanks, Joe.
Take me out.
Nice, enjoy.
Thank you.
So let us no longer skip the stuff. I'll make a motion that we move to item 5 on our agenda workshops.
Second,
Mr. Noble?
yes.
Ms. Greenblatt?
Yes.
Mr. Nowicki?
Yes.
Mr. Weber?
Yes.
Mayor Guptezi?
Yes, back to you, John.
Okay, it's like the John show today. Skip the stuff. This is, refers to a kind of brand of ordinance that's sweeping the nation. It refers to takeout. If you order takeout food, you probably just want your food. There's a 90% chance you're taking it back to your home or to your office. And, you have all this stuff. What we mean by stuff is plastic utensils, napkins, chopsticks, every condiment in a little plastic package known to mankind. And I don't know all you that well, but I know every single one of you has a drawer in your kitchen full of this stuff, right? Yes, you do. Okay, you're nodding your heads. Because we feel bad throwing it out, but we didn't really want it, we didn't really need it. Again, it's shocking, but there's a bottle of ketchup in my fridge. There's actually utensils in my drawer, in my kitchen at home. So we don't tend to need all this stuff. I think businesses add it because they don't know, right? So skip the stuff ordinances are about making the default. When you order takeout, you get nothing. You can have all of that stuff. You can have any of it or all of it. You have to ask. So if you were not taking it home and you needed utensils or you needed extra ketchup packets, where you ask for it, you can get it. So that's the concept on skip the stuff. The handout, which I didn't give myself lunch. Really quickly, I will talk about a case study and then I will turn it over to a guest that we have. Who was a local celebrity. I got this. I just sold shop shoot. And there's a couple up here if people want it. Different environmental group, but I work with, sometimes, work with them. Clean Water Action, they have this skip the stuff ordinance in Red Bank. They did it in March of last year, after it had been on the books for 6 months in the fall. Somebody from Clean Water Action went to the restaurants and asked about it. And they said, how's it going? And they, basically tried to estimate how much less stuff these takeout businesses are giving out. And bottom line is they're giving out 94% less stuff. So that's, again, plastic utensils or napkins and, condiment packages and all that stuff. I don't know what that translates to in dollars and cents, but if we had to give away 94% less stuff, you're spending 94% less money on that, whatever it costs. So seems to be working really well in Red Bank. And some people may know Brian Thompson. I'm going to turn it over to him. He was an NBC reporter. He liked to report on environmental stuff. He's retired and he's turned into an environmental advocate. He's on the Environmental Commission in Monmouth Beach. So if we can turn it over to Brian for a second. You have the floor, Mr. Thompson. If you
Is he unmuted?
unmute, Michelle, you can unmute, so Brian can talk. That's how we do it. Is rather each to talk. Okay.
We're not
Still
unmuted
muted.
yet.
Does Michelle hear you?
Hey, do I just yell really loud? What do I do?
Hey, Michelle.
All right. Hello, everybody. How are you? Thank you for giving me this opportunity to talk to you. Yeah, I've been very active on the Environmental Commission in Monmouth Beach, actually for about almost 10 years now. And I got us to, and we're a conservative, by the way, Republican town. I have not checked on the politics in Bradley Beach, but I can tell you that Monmouth Beach votes Republican 99% of the time. And yet, our commissioners were very forward thinking because we are a beach community, because they are very sensitive to what happens to our beach. In passing back in 2018, what was at the time the single strongest plastic ban in the nation, when we banned plastic bags, plastic straws, and styrofoam all in one ordinance, picking up by what many towns along the shore had done piecemeal. And so when it came to skip the stuff, for my council, my commissioners, it was a no-brainer. The Environmental Commission gave it its hearty endorsement, and within a couple of months, it passed, and it's working. I went personally to all of the restaurants. Okay, we're small, so we don't have a lot of restaurants, maybe like Belmar does, but I went to all of the restaurants in Monmouth Beach and asked them, do you have any problem with this? No. One was already doing it. A deli was only giving it out if you asked. That was the old Andy K's, for those of you who may have ever been to Monmouth Beach. The kitchen, which they were very enthusiastic about it, but they were also in the position where they had already initiated that, but they didn't really make sure that their employees followed it all the time. So it was a curious situation. But that being said, we have now seen this pass in some almost 24 municipalities in the past year and a half. Red Bank was the first one of the modern era. And as you will see in that study that John just mentioned, yeah, it's saving money. And I don't know how many of you have ever been in the restaurant business or are familiar with it, but for a restaurant, every penny counts. And so that's what we're offering them. What we're offering the public is plastic utensil-free drawers and refrigerators without all those condiments that just pile up over the months and years. But we're also offering them a cleaner environment. You just heard somebody talk about picking up trash on the beach. Well, not everybody needs the plastic utensils, even if they're coming to the beach with food. It might be hand food that you don't need a fork and a knife for, or you don't need the mayonnaise or whatever the soy sauce that they may throw in there. So if you just ask for it and need it, you're going to cut down and you can get 10 minutes maybe instead of 5 minutes of a good cleanup as people hunt and peck and search for something to pick up. And that's really the environmental goal here, is to make it a cleaner environment. The financial goal is to help restaurants. As I say, we've passed it in some 24 towns now in the past year, nearly 24, all the way up to Haworth and Bergen County. Hoboken passed it, Jersey City passed it, Red Bank, as you know, passed it. My Monmouth Beach, I just got it passed in Long Branch about a month or two ago. They were extremely enthusiastic about it. So,
It sounds like it's sweeping the municipalities.
pardon?
It sounds like it's sweeping the municipalities of New Jersey.
And so what we're doing is we're changing a habit, but a restaurant can simply put up at the cash register, they can put up, if you need pencils, ask. If you need condiments, ask. Or they can put it out. That's what a lot of the fast food restaurants are doing now, is they'll put the items out and you make a single selection because they know it saves money. And for a restaurant, we wouldn't do this if it didn't save them money. If we were putting a burden on them, I don't think this would go anywhere. I wouldn't be in favor of it if I were a restaurant owner. But
Appreciate that. The view from Monmouth Beach, I really appreciate it, Brian.
So any questions you have, throw them at me, or I can help you out.
Brian, thank you again for joining us tonight. My question is, rolling out an initiative like this is great for the environment. As you've said, it's great for many of the restaurant owners as well. But where did you meet resistance? I'm sure there's been resistance along the way. Who pushed back and what was your experience there?
No resistance in Monmouth Beach. You will see in the study, the 94%, there were a couple of restaurants in Red Bank, as you'd expect, who did have problems with this, simply because it was a change in habit, even though it was going to save them money. But it was a small minority, a very small minority. There was a council member up north in Cranford, I believe it was, who just didn't feel it was role of government to do anything, basically. And she voted against it while the majority passed it. So you see little pockets like that. But, when you think of the good this does for both the business owner and the environment, we just haven't had that much resistance. And, if it comes down to code enforcement, we strongly encourage simply educating the restaurant. Make sure they're new hires. They'll get new hires at the cash register who just automatically think they're supposed to put it in. We don't really encourage trying to fine them. Just make a visit if needed, or the citizen can tell the restaurant. I've had to do that a couple of times in towns like Long Branch. I say, hey, you got an ordinance here. Just follow the ordinance. And they say, oh, didn't realize that. Thank you very much. That's it.
Right. Well, thank you. Other questions or comments?
Okay.
All right. Thank you once again. I appreciate your input. Mr. Weber, back to you.
Thank you, Brian. Thanks for taking time out of your evening. I know you're busy. So that's kind of it on skip the stuff. This is a workshop. We're not passing any laws or anything like that, but I guess it's your discretion, Mr. Mayor, if you want to hear from the public or if you want to say.
Let's have you continue, John, with the DPW sheriff.
Then they can do it in the public portion.
Yes.
Okay, sounds good. You want to listen to this, Brian. This is a neat idea. Okay, talked about this, maybe I sort of threatened this, no, a few meetings ago. There was an idea, we're paying a ton for bulk, to get rid of bulk trash. It's, you know, Piaggio said it was about $20,000 in the tipping fees, and that's not even counting the guy's time and the, you know, driving out to the dump and all that. So we're trying to figure out ways to reduce that. And there was this idea of just, said, boy, if somebody was throwing out a shed, like getting rid of a shed, I don't know, they're gonna build a pool, so they don't need a shed anymore, or something like that. You take that shed, we'll put it in the DPW yard, and people could bring good, usable, clean things that they just don't want anymore. The kind of stuff that you put on the curb, or, you know, the kind of stuff you may have to buy stickers, bulk stickers to get rid of. And Biagio loved the idea, the Environmental Commission got behind this idea as well. Biagio got so behind it that he just gathered up scrap wood and stuff he had lying around, and they built a shed for almost no money. And there's a shed down at the DPW yard now where you can take your recycling and stuff. So I'm like, all right, now we have a shed. I gotta come up with some rules, because we definitely need there to be rules. Sent a few drafts of rules around. I'm just gonna read them, and we'd love to hear from the public in the public portion. This is what we came up with, and this is, again, a lot of us put our heads together on this one, but these are the rules of it's called the sharing shed. If anybody has a better idea, like, love to more catchy or more marketable or whatever, let us know. But the rules of the sharing shed are residents only. Only Bradley Beach residents can drop off items in the shed. Anyone from anywhere can take items from the shed. Only complete usable items in good conditions can be dropped off at the shed. Nothing broken, nothing stained, nothing that needs assembling, nothing that needs work or quote needs cleaning. Nothing with flammable or toxic materials, no food or beverage items of any kind. Please bring them to the food pantry. No health or beauty products or cosmetics, no clothing, please donate it. Plenty of places to donate that. No mattresses or pillows, period. Please use the bulk dumpster, and that is a lot of what we get in the bulk dumpster. Users take items at their own risk and assume all responsibility, and the shed is only open when the DPW yard is open. This very well may be a work in progress. We might start it, figure out a couple more rules that we need or something. But if we're good to go on this, I'm gonna ask Matt to hand draw a temporary sign or something like that, or just come up with a temporary sign. And if we settle on these rules, we'll make a permanent sign, and the sharing shed will be open. One final idea, I hope to enlist members of the Environmental Commission, or anybody who wants to do it. I thought a great way to get stuff moving through it in and out fast is, I'll go down to the shed in the morning. I'll take a picture of what's there and post it. Hey, there's a couch and there's a carpet and there's a whatever, a stuffed chair. So people can come get it, and then hopefully it just goes through faster. When we went down to the shed and we were like in the process of thinking up the rules, somebody came in with a pickup truck that had multiple mattresses in it, but they had a couch, they had a rug, they had whatever. Mattresses went in the dumpster. This other stuff was perfectly usable. EPW guys just put it in the shed, and it's there for the taking. Like, it's already working basically. And again, the goal is to cut down the bulk waste disposal cost, and that's it.
Questions of John from the council?
So I actually made that suggestion as well. I'm glad to hear the environmental commission worked on it.
Thank you.
Yes, no, it's great. It's great. This, you know, they have this kind of thing in a lot of other dumps. Anyone from anywhere can take items from the shed. Actually, don't you need to be a resident to go into the shed, into the DPW site?
We thought about that, the idea is, if only Bradley Beach residents can take, it's like a smaller pool of people. And if we open it up to anybody, you're correct in a way. In order for you to leave something at the, you know, to dump it, like, why else would you go in the dump, right? Because
Right.
you're usually leaving something
Right.
here to, up until now, like, you know, nobody was taking anything. You did need to be a resident, but I think with this, if the only thing you're doing is taking something from the shed. And that's one of the things, we'll see how that works. We think it's doable, but that's why only people from Bradley Beach can leave, because that would be on our dime to throw it out. So we don't want people coming from other towns and getting rid of their stuff, because that, right? And if stuff is sitting in the shed for a couple of weeks, whatever, and it doesn't go, we'll throw it in the bulk dumpster. We're not that proud, but we think it's gonna save a lot of money.
Great. Is it a sizable shed? You're talking about furniture going in it?
Yeah, if it's a couch and whatever, I wish I had the dimensions. I wanna say it's about, maybe like, it would be a very small bedroom or a very large walk-in closet. How about like 7 by about 11 or 12 feet? So depending on your, where, when I was young, that was in a big bedroom and now it's maybe a big walk-in closet for some people.
I'm putting together my list of what I'm gonna put in that shed.
All right,
Yes,
awesome, Jan.
so that's great.
And if we're successful, John, we may build a 3-story building.
Yeah.
Found wood.
Any other questions or comments for?
That's great. Reuse, recycle. I like it.
right.
Yeah.
Okay, Mr. Weber, thank you very much for leading us for the past half an hour or
I
so.
know, sorry.
Um, uh, Residents, you will be able to ask Mr. Weber questions in 1 minute. We're gonna just get through item 7 on our agenda.
Are you gonna do the proclamation,
Oh, yeah.
National Night Out?
Yes, oh yes, where is the problem?
It was under presentations.
Back presentation. I hope we don't have to make them a motion. Go back.
Do you have a copy?
I don't have that.
Okay, I can pull it out.
Did I not give you that?
I can pull it out.
Apparently not, or maybe I'm,
Sorry.
this one, is it there?
Yes, here.
Where is it?
Oh, it's on the,
You have another version.
I have it.
Here.
Oh, okay, I'm gonna go with
No,
this.
here, it was there, it was on the
It's
side
okay.
of your,
I'd like us to continue item 6 on our agenda. Reading a proclamation for National Night Out 2025. Do I have that proclamation? Yes, I do.
Oh, you have it. Okay, great.
I have the proclamation was on my agenda.
Okay.
I will read this. National Night Out Proclamation. Whereas the National Association of Town Watch, NATW, is sponsoring a unique nationwide crime prevention program on August 5th, 2025, entitled National Night Out. And whereas the annual National Night Out provides a unique opportunity for the borough of Bradley Beach to join forces with thousands of other communities across the country in promoting cooperative police community crime prevention efforts. And whereas it is essential that all citizens of the borough of Bradley Beach be aware of the importance of crime prevention programs and the impact that their participation can have on reducing crime in the borough. And whereas police community partnerships, neighborhood safety, awareness, and cooperation are important themes of the National Night Out program. And whereas a celebration is planned for neighborhood watch groups in the borough of Bradley Beach from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. on August 5th, 2025 at the beachfront on Ocean Avenue. I'll repeat that, 6 to 8 p.m. August 5th, 2025 at the beachfront. Now therefore be it resolved by the governing body of the borough of Bradley Beach, proclaim August 5th, 2025 as National Night Out 2025. And this is something that most of you are aware of. We, the borough of Bradley Beach, sponsor every year, really our police department sponsors. It's a fun night out for all. Typically hamburgers and hot dogs are cooked. I presume it'll be something similar once again. It's just a great opportunity to mingle among residents, mingle with our police force. And one little challenge the folks up here faces, we have a council meeting on that same evening, so we're gonna look further at that. But please make sure, if it's at all possible, try to attend, stop by at some point. It's always a great time for all. Any comments or questions about National Night Out?
I was gonna volunteer to flip the burgers.
That's
right.
right.
We just have to take a council break for like an hour, run down
Right.
the river and then.
Right.
I know, that's right. We'll call it executive session.
Right?
So more to come on that, but whether the council can join or not, I encourage all residents to join it. Maybe bring I don't know, a phone to listen into the council meeting. Okay, I don't know if my agenda, Erica, is there any other additions to the agenda? No, that's it. Okay. I just want to make sure I lead us in the right
that was
direction.
last minute one on Friday by me, I got it.
Okay, no problem, no problem. Public comments and a question, but I'd like to move to item 7 on the agenda, approval of minutes. I'd like to make a motion, July 1, 2025 council business meeting minutes be approved.
Second,
Mr. Noble?
yes.
Ms. Greenblatt?
Yes.
Mr. Nowicki?
Yes.
Mr. Weber?
Yes.
Mayor Gubatose?
Yes. I'd like to make a motion to approve July 1, 2025 executive session meeting minutes.
Second.
Mr. Noble?
I was not at that meeting, so I will abstain.
Ms. Greenblatt?
Yes.
Mr. Nowicki?
Yes.
Mr. Weber?
Yes.
Mayor Gubatose?
Yes. Okay, now we will open it. It's item 8. We'll open it up to public comments or questions. Feel free to ask questions about any of Mr. Weber's presentations and workshops or anything else on the agenda. Yes, please.
I'm
Come forward. Nice try.
That's my birthday.
Just say your name and your address.
I'm Heidi Sirota, 502 Monmouth Ave. I lived in a town where we had one of these sharing sheds, and it was great. One of the things, and I don't think I heard you mention it, was paint, used paint. So it's something you may, if you did mention, I'm sorry.
No, you are 100% right. I
Yeah.
did not mention, we said no flammable or toxic materials, and maybe we'll just put a little
Well,
semicolon
I
and no
think
paint.
if I recall, the one that we had in our town did accept used paints as long as it was in, good condition and sealed and whatnot.
Mhm.
And it was something that people valued, so I understand the chemical aspects of it, but I just want to bring that up because you'll probably have people with paint cans coming.
Okay, what town? Just
It
curious.
was in Windsor, Connecticut.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
That's a great suggestion.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe even construction materials.
Yes, I was thinking lumber and other things like that.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so you might want to call Windsor and see what they're doing. I don't know.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any other questions here in the audience? Or comments? Yes, Ms. Haber.
Lauren Neighbor, 404.5 Green Avenue. I came to ask some questions and express some concerns about the ordinance to change Article 6 and the Department of Public Safety Division of Police. Okay, and 530A says in the pertinent part, where it used to say there would be a police chief and 17 additional members of the police department. It's being changed to say the police chief and as many sworn regular members of the police department as the appropriate authority shall be necessary to ensure the safety and security of the borough. So my first question when I read that was, who is the appropriate authority? Who are we talking about? And it looks like in B, when they mention appropriate authority, they say mayor and council. Is that what's envisioned in A?
That is correct.
Okay, then the question that I have with that is, at this point with the size of our police force established by ordinance, it would take an ordinance to change it. Now, I don't know how long and how cumbersome that is. One thing that I see that it does is it provides for public notice and input when we have to change an ordinance. And it's a mechanism by which the council and mayor are both involved. So, I guess my question would be, does this envision a process for how the council would participate in that decision? And a process by which, because I can see you could increase the police force or you could decrease it, and I think both actions could be something of public concern. The why, the reasoning, the when. So could someone comment on that for me?
Yeah, let me take a stab at it and anyone else can join in. So number one, thank you for raising this question, because if we just introduced the ordinance, we would not have public comments. So by asking the question, we get to ask the public comment and interaction. What we have learned through life experiences is that we believe the current ordinance language, which very specifically states we have 17 officers, and it very specifically defines a pyramid with, there's a chief of police, there's a captain, 2 lieutenants, 3 sergeants, very clearly delineated pyramid. And then there's this so-called bottom of the pyramid where you might have junior officers. We've had an unusual situation of late where one officer has basically not been available for a number of years. But he counts in that head count of 17. There's reduced compensation that's been available because we've had shift differentials and so forth. But so borough's been, saving money, but we've been down an officer. Further in the ordinance, we're not changing this, but further in the ordinance, there's language that says we can hire up to 50 specials, 50. I think we had 10 or 12, because we can't find these young people. We're gonna talk about, we, the council, in the police about casting a broader net to try to bring in more specials. Folks who walk the beach, who look for people smoking, drinking, tall tents, loud noise, all that stuff. We're very limited. And as we talked about, well, what can we do? Because we're also constrained, not by budget, because we're managing within our budget, but we're constrained by the language of the ordinance as it stands. And the council discussed in an executive session, and our attorney has helped us craft the amendments you see. That we said, if we can create with our collective input, you did question, you know, who's the governing, the governing body is the appropriate authority. With the mayor and the council all deciding to go up or down, we wanted to give ourselves that opportunity, because in this case, we'd like to hire an additional class 2 individual, bottom of the pyramid, low pay, you know, to order of magnitude $50,000 of salary. And especially as other officers retire, we would like to at least have the option to potentially build the bottom of the pyramid, especially for a lot of the duties that we currently are struggling sometimes to cover, just because of the lack of bodies. So the thinking was, provide this governing body with a little more flexibility as to whether or not we might want to, if we wanted to adjust staff a little bit. Of course, with the police department's agreement, we would have the ability to do that. Right now, it's purely a headcount equation, and we can't deviate from the headcount.
The thing that concerns me here, and again, is the mechanism. You know, there are sunshine laws where input and discussion amongst the council is supposed to happen in public. So when you have an ordinance like this that establishes the number, then it would seem to me that perhaps in a special circumstance, there should be an ordinance that changes that number, or that is creative enough to say, you know, maybe adapt the ordinance to say, if a particular officer is unavailable for a period of time, you know, but again, that would tend to kick the discussion out of the public forum. And the other thing that I do want to point out is that tiered system of you have this office, and that office, already says that you can decide not to have, there's language that indicates that you can make patrolmen as opposed to those higher class officers. So you do have some flexibility to move around the function. And the other thing that was mentioned was that, you know, with the agreement of the police, and that's something else that it just seems wide open to me, you know, and maybe an over solution to just say, okay, we're gonna have an ordinance where the appropriate authority, and I would say have to put right there, every time appropriate authority comes out, just add in council and mayor, or mayor and council at a minimum. And we'll see if that would survive a challenge under a future mayor, if we continue with the strong mayor form of government, but.
Okay, so I'm gonna turn this over to Mr. Cannon in a second, but just so you know, when you mentioned sunshine laws and you know, backroom possible discussions, not deliberating in front of the public, this is designed for exactly that. This is an ordinance introduction. It's clearly defining, any decisions we make as a council have to be in public. So some of your concerns might not be completely founded, but rather than me going on, I'd like to turn over to Mr. Cannon, because we've spent a lot of time, I have personally, with Mr. Cannon, just to make sure we got this language, quote unquote, right. So we could have the ability to better serve the public, still manage our budgets, and not be constrained by language that's, you know, I don't know how old, 10, 15 years.
To change an ordinance, if it needs to be changed.
Well,
You know, making it 18 as opposed to
Up to 30,
17.
yeah.
What?
That 34 days at the earliest. In this one, we're
So
Can we introduce?
That would be great, so she's about 40.
so this is the introduction.
Yes. Greg, did you wanna?
Yeah, so you did a really good job of explaining the operational aspects of the ordinance. So legally, the appropriate authority is the mayor and council. And notwithstanding, a legal case that commented on that last year, that didn't change that. It's simply that the ruling in that case simply said that the employee had the ability to rely on the apparent authority of the then mayor who gave them that discipline. So it didn't change appropriate authority. Also, appropriate authority is a term of art. It's included in Title 40 and 118 that sequence, which is how you hire police officers and the rights of police. It's in Title 40.
Title 40 of our.
I believe it's in, if you go,
state statute.
yes, so police officers and their hiring and removal is governed by state statute. The appropriate authority is, that's the language from the statutes. The appropriate authority is something that's recognized across every municipality. Sometimes that's, it doesn't necessarily have to be the mayor and council. It could be manager and a manager form of government, or it can be other people. In this form of government, it's the mayor and council. So the police officer cannot be hired here, and we have not hired a police officer, to my knowledge, without a resolution. So you're concerned about that a police officer could be hired without public action. We can't do that here. Mayor and council means that there has to be a resolution to hire a police officer.
Can that be, the one thing I'm saying is, while I am so comforted by your explanation and by this.
I'm sorry, can I also finish, because I think it might help you too.
Oh, I'm
So
sorry.
the reason why it's important to have it flexible. So the current policing is a market, an industry, just like every other, right? And at present, in the last several years, there's been a lot of changes in policing. That has led to a lot of retirements, and it's led to a significant reduction in applications of people who want to be police officers. And so there used to be a line of special police officers here in town who would be in that, maybe a professional police officer for years, waiting for a spot to open up. Right? So that's one thing that's changed in terms of just in general in the market. The other thing that's changed is that an agency doesn't necessarily have to sign off on a transfer anymore. Meaning that the police officers are free agents, so to speak. That was a law that was passed 3 or 4 years ago, that allows, before you could not go to the academy, you had to be sponsored by an agency, you had to stay with them until they released you. Police don't have to do that anymore, so they can pursue the highest paying job, like any other industry, free agency. What that means for a small town of 5,000 people is that your younger and mid-level, in particular your special police officers, especially your special police officers, any that you have left, are being hired away faster than we would be able to hire them or offer them a job to go to the academy when these things come up. And so this is to provide the chief of police flexibility. So there's multiple controls on it as well, right? Because you can't just hire as many police officers as you want because you have a budget. So this allows the police chief to determine, okay, I'm gonna have this higher paying officer maybe retire in September, and these 2 officers are available now, but if I don't offer them a job now, they're gonna go to the bigger towns or other towns, right? So the police chief is having great difficulty in reacting fast enough to hire people to replace people who might be out on leave with special circumstance that was mentioned earlier. And you no longer have that pool of special officers, all these people that were waiting eagerly with police officers doesn't exist anymore. Your ordinance says 50 and you're down to 10 or 12. So the pipeline of bringing new officers in and the opportunity to hire officers and send them to the academy and sponsor them, which costs the borough money on the front end. And to be sure that they're gonna work here, if we had to wait 40 days to change the ordinance, if we wanted to, maybe the police chief wants to have 19 officers this year, and it'll drop back down to 17 based on a retirement, he can fit that in the budget, you follow me?
Yes,
So that's the reason, that's the market reason for this.
you need to be fleet on your feet.
The police chief missed out on 2 recruits recently, obviously we can't get into details of that, but missed out on 2 recruits recently because the special circumstance is holding his spot and the spots weren't available according to the ordinance. So that's the market-based reason, and then as the mayor explained to you, the operational aspects of how the council wants to operate the appropriate authority, that's what's leading to this. It's not, and no officer can be hired. Your point to the police ranks could decrease by attrition, without the public knowing is likely founded, right? Because you wouldn't know they're not being hired, and we don't necessarily announce retirements or people out, we definitely don't announce people out on leave for various reasons. So your concern in that regard, I think, is founded. But that, I suspect the police union will let you know if you're standing in the back of the room if that happens.
Could we? I'm just asking if there can be a second look taken at some of the language, because then you might change it to at least 17. And then if you really see that our town doesn't need that many police, then you can take 34 days and change the ordinance. So at least we're not looking at a drop that the public's not aware of. And I think I heard the answer to my other concern, which was, what is the mechanism by which the council participates and the public becomes aware? And is that a resolution that's public?
It'd be a public vote to hire a police officer here, yeah. And we've been doing that for years here.
Fantastic. That,
It was the discipline part we got a little squirrely with last year.
I just would, even though. You know, the language is a term of art when it says the appropriate authority. And once you tell me, well, that's Title 40 with the state, then I feel very comforted. If we could just clarify it each time it comes up, it's in some of these provisions, it will say mayor and council in parentheses afterwards. And it just, when a lay person wants to see what our ordinances are, I think it really helps. There was one other concern, and I'm way
Yeah,
over
'cause
time.
Laura,
Yeah.
you really are way over time.
Yeah.
I am, and the explanations were wonderful.
I know, but
And detailed.
please just try to.
I will. I absolutely will. I'm confused by the language in 4. So if somebody, when they get a chance, can take a look at the language in 4, because it's the one place where it doesn't look like the chief of police is looking for approval from the council. It sounds like the council is under the direction of the chief of police. It's, the wording is awkward enough that I don't understand it.
Okay, other questions? Thank you. Other questions or comments from the audience here? Mr. Greenberg, I see your hand raised.
Hey guys, how's it going? Don Greenberg, 302 Park Place Avenue, Bradley Beach. I had a question on the Skip the Stuff bill for John. Hey John, as we know, the Skip the Straw bill has been a miserable failure in the state because there was no educational component. Are we planning on doing an educational component with the restaurants?
Happy to do an educational component, and it's not so much a skip, the straws, it's straws on request, and. I think there's other reasons why that is not working, and just so people know, you're not supposed to get a plastic straw in New Jersey unless you ask for it.
Or paper?
Or I guess any kind of straw, yeah, so unless you ask for it, so the there's different reasons for that, it's because the rest of that law is implemented by the Department of Environmental Protection, but the straw part is under the Department of Health. They didn't have any rules for it, and they're actually working on that, and literally like 2 years later after the fact that law, no, it's gonna be more than that, several years after that law went into effect, the Department of Health is finally coming around to getting rules, so. But yes to education, and happy to, have people help and push out a committee to see what that education looks like.
Be happy to volunteer if you need some help.
All right, thanks, Tom.
And I had a question on which one is it? The parking ordinance, 2025-22. Am I reading it right that you can't park in the beach lot for more than 2 hours?
I don't think anything changed in the beach lots, so.
Yeah, I'd never seen it before, but it just seems odd that you have a beach lot that you can't park for more than 2 hours when people are on the beach.
So, Don, just to quickly answer your question, because we're not changing that, so you may be right, but we haven't spent any time looking at it. This is only focused on changes to the lot just north of Borough Hall. So we're not changing it. We can revisit that, but I don't know the answer
Okay.
to you.
Fair enough.
mean, I have to read through it.
Okay, and yeah, because like the 2 hour thing just seems a little tight, especially for a lot on the beach. I'm
Yeah,
talking
not
about the lot
sure.
on Cliff Ave and Ocean.
I'm not sure there's a limit, but again.
Where are you seeing that in this, do you have it in front of you, cause I'm like, where do you see the 2 hours?
Hold on a second, unless I was reading it wrong. Hold on, I just took it down. Give me 1 second here.
There is a lot. It's the Cliff Avenue lot. It doesn't say 2 hour.
And that's not Park Mobile?
It is part one, but it's not limited that I know. of,
Right.
2 hours.
Let's
What's
see.
that?
It's the whole lot, it's part of both.
Imagine.
Yeah, so again, I'm not familiar.
Yeah, it says
with-
in reference, it's under A, in reference to the municipal parking lot on the east side of Ocean Avenue from Cliff to the northerly boundary. It shall be unlawful violation for any person, blah, 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 to park or stand anywhere in such parking area for a period in excess of 2 hours at any one time between the hours of 9 a.m. and 5 p.m.
That is odd, and people who are parking there with Park Mobile are paying by the hour for all day, so we're not enforcing that. I was not aware of that, and we can certainly revisit that at a later time.
Unless you're limited to only 2 hours in Park Mobile.
Yeah.
You're not.
Can we change that now?
Yeah, well, I don't
I
know.
guess not now, but you definitely.
So Don, you're only supposed to read the underlined parts.
Hey, I read everything, baby. And the other question in number 1, it says you can't park in a stall for any longer than 2 hours. Is that just, when you say stall, does that mean just an outlined parking spot on the street?
I think a stall is a space. Again, Don, are you looking at things we're changing, or are you just?
No, I was just looking at the first paragraph on the ordinance. It just seemed odd that it was only 2 hours in any parking stall. So like you can have some, like Newark, you have a stall in front of your house and you can't park there for more than 2 hours.
No, that's not.
Yeah, but Captain Browning, can you speak to the 2 hour stall limit? I know that it applies to Main Street, for example.
That's, yeah, I don't know if that's where that is or how that's, in there. We don't enforce, time limits on Ocean Avenue or the North End lot, or the paid parking.
Right.
And then on the west side, it's not enforced at all.
Right.
Main Street is always, been 2 hours, do our best to address that. But
Yeah.
I don't know how that,
Well, it says
maybe
this
that's
provision
kind
is
of changed or something that was overlooked.
So basically it's in there, but it's not enforced. Okay.
Yeah, but Don, in part
Municipal law.
B numbers like
Right.
2, 3, and 4, where I see the word stall, there's no time limits on any of those.
Well, if you look under violations, number 1, it's the first paragraph under rules and regulations. Third sentence.
Look at.
See, it's just this.
205, 2025-22, 9-3.6 A1.
I don't see where we get, well, sorry.
So there's two things. There's the stall, which I believe is a space. But the 2 hour limit, it says it won't park in excess of 2 hours at any time in any one parking space. And then in reference to the municipal lot. And in reference to the municipal parking lot, again, on the north side versus west side. Around Borough Hall, what's C?
Right. Yeah, that one I understand. This is on the first page of the ordinance, the stuff I'm talking about.
It's really just that lot that's on the ocean.
Well,
Okay, we'll look at it.
again, Don, we're not changing what you're saying tonight. But
Right.
we'll look, without understanding it in a broader context, it's hard to explain whether it's right or wrong. I can say it cannot be right related to Cliff Avenue parking lot. That's just something that's been there forever. Nobody noticed it. But the other.
Except me.
Yeah, except you, thank you. But the other reference to stall, it seems to be referencing what I'm reading quickly, are parking lots around Borough Hall. Limited to 2 hours, and we're going to continue that. There will be a 2 hour limit on stalls, spaces around Borough Hall.
Okay. Yeah, that I get. This one is though in number 1, it says any one parking stall and has nothing to do with Borough Hall, which is further down in the ordinance. I totally get the Borough Hall thing.
Okay,
Well, it says as follows, so what follows are articulating the various locations. And so I think the error for us is the, Ocean Avenue, Cliff Avenue lot.
That's it.
and again, we need to revisit that. It's not part of the scope of these amendments. We did not.
Got it.
That, so,
Totally got it. It's one of those things I get that's just been there forever. Get it.
yeah, no, we didn't even look at it. Our entire focus has been on how to, and we'll talk about this later, how do we make parking work along Main Street, especially to the extent we use Borough Hall parking as public parking? And how do we balance that with the demands of our own employees? So
Thanks,
thanks
guys.
for highlighting that. We will revisit.
Appreciate it.
Other comments or questions? Nothing else.
That's it.
John's got his hand up?
No, that's a pointer. Erica, can you move the long hand again?
That's the cursor.
Yeah, the cursor's at hand.
Okay. So we will move over to the introduction for I'm sorry, we're on public comments still, right?
Anybody else?
Any other public
Okay.
comments? Okay. Moving on then to ordinance item number 9, ordinance introductions. There will be now there will be no public comment on the introductions. You will have an opportunity to address the council at adoption, but I'll make a motion that we approve the introduction of ordinance 2025-22, amending chapter 9, traffic of the borough's revised general ordinances to create specific public access to our parking in the Borough Hall parking lot.
Second.
Ms. DeNoble?
Yes.
Ms. Greenblatt?
Yes.
Mr. Nowicki?
Yes, but I do believe we need to address the other items that Don Greenberg just mentioned. So.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mr. Weber?
Yes.
Mayor Gubatosi?
Yes. Before we move on, I asked Michelle Wiley if she could share with the audience what we're doing, and now that we've at least voted to introduce, give a quick overview of what this would look like. Michelle, are you able to do that? Okay, so everyone could quickly see, no, go back, Michelle, to the first page. Yep. Thank you. You can probably orient yourselves quickly. The top of the screen is the west by the railroad tracks. You can kind of see Main Street at the bottom in gray. And let me kind of direct everybody to the column right in the middle. That effectively is the parking spaces along Borough Hall. They're all marked employee only. And what's going to happen is those will remain employee only. But they will be limited to 5 AM to 4 PM. After 4 PM, those become available to the public. So whether it be people shopping in the afternoon, going to dinner in the early evening, those will be public available spots with 2-hour limits. What's really kind of critical is the green and the white that follows. Because initially, a number of months ago, this council introduced an ordinance that was basically going to take all the spaces in the middle and use them for employee parking and visitor parking and other borough related activity. And there was an uproar from a number of our businesses, from many of our residents saying, wait, you can't take away all the public parking, guys. We need this for Main Street. So we have tabled that that ordinance that was introduced for a couple of months now, as we worked on this Plan B. And with the cooperation of our police department and our volunteer fire department, what we've come up with is we are adding, as you can see at the top of those 2 columns to the right, we are adding 3 additional employee parking spaces in each row. So we're adding 6 employee parking spaces there, subject to the same limit. The employees are there from 5 AM to 4 PM. After that, they also become public, subject to 2 hours. But our police department said we're okay relinquishing the 15-minute parking that was on the street. So if you see that horizontal row at the bottom left of the screen, that frees up 6 to 7, I'm illustrating 6 here, but 6 to 7 parking spaces that were limited to 15 minutes. So effectively, and now those will become subject to 2-hour limits. Once again, people can shop, they can go to restaurants. So we're replacing the 6 spots we needed to accommodate employees with 6 spaces on the street. That is still subject to state DOT. Our Chief Arnold is talking to the state. They said, we're gonna have a resolution later requesting the DOT to change. We're getting the clear go ahead that we'll be able to do that. So I think the very good news for Bradley Beach is that we'll still have the same total spaces available during the day for public parking. In the evening, we will have all of these spaces, the original 28 that are in the middle of the diagram, plus 6 to 7 more on the street. So we'll have 35 or so public available spaces for restaurant dining in particular, or, late afternoon, early evening shopping. So, and again, my thanks to our police department and to our fire department, who have also made some spaces available to the borough on the fire department premises. So that is a summary of what we intended to approve. Mr. Greenberg highlighted some other flaws in the ordinance, but the focus of the changes are depicted here. And Michelle, if you could advance the screen a page. Michelle? There we go. This is just what the parking spaces in the middle of the lot, that's 3 and 3 that I identified that will be employee only. You can see they're very clearly marked. We could not put up signs in the middle of the parking lot to get in the way of plowing and maintenance and so forth. But very clear marking for the public to know that 5 AM to 4 PM, these spaces will be used for employee use. And Michelle, advance one more screen. This is the real life picture of what, as of this past weekend, the relining that was done. This is an aerial photo of that same parking lot that I just depicted in the green and white. You can still see that the top of the screen is Main Street. And there are 2 blue marked handicap spots. They did not change at all. But as you can see, the 3 at the ends of the 2 middle rows there are the ones marked employee only. So I just want everybody to have a sense for what the council is approving tonight with 2025-22. Thank you, Michelle. I think we can go back to the regular screen. And I'll move forward to introduction of ordinance. I'll make a motion that we introduce ordinance 2025-23, which is a bond ordinance providing for sewer improvements along Ocean Park Avenue, which is appropriating just under $1 million, $975,000. This will include so-called soft costs, which are largely tied to design and permitting, as well as hard costs for construction. And the reason this is happening quickly along Ocean Park is because we've got a borderline emergency, and we have for a month or two, where we're having significant sewer issues on this 3-block stretch of Ocean Park. So this is our effort to quickly move to remedy the problems with the sewer on Ocean Park. There's no, okay, please. Yeah,
How long has this issue been going on?
at least a few months. Matt, do you know more specifically?
Yeah, it's gotten worse and worse over the last few.
So historically, there hasn't been with this over the past few years?
I just got here in January,
You're not aware, okay, okay.
but I would tell you that the Department of Public Works has to get out there at least once, sometimes twice a week, just to vacuum out
That's a problem.
sand, dirt, to keep the line flowing, otherwise it starts backing up into people's basements.
Yeah, and Shauna, because you and Councilman Nowicki are doing so much work on sewer infrastructure projects in general, but this had to be accelerated,
Right.
but this was a surprise and emergent conditions. So I'll make a motion that we approve the introduction of 2025-23.
Second.
Mr. Noble?
Yes.
Ms. Greenblatt?
Yes.
Mr. Nowicki?
Yes.
Mr. Weber?
Yeah.
Mayor Gubatosi?
Yes. Okay, also for introduction, is ordinance 2025-24, large vehicle trailer storage. What is basically happening here is we're trying to gradually improve various issues related to parking within the borough. In this particular instance, we're trying to constrain the parking of very large, oversized vehicles to outside of the front yard, what's it called, the front yard envelope, thank you. So that if you do have a large trailer, a tractor trailer, that kind of a thing, you've got to park it on the side or the back of the house. As of this moment in time, you could conceivably park in the driveway, in the front of your house, right in your driveway. And we're trying to be a little more respectful of neighbors and others who would be concerned with the optics of a very large, these are oversized and described in the ordinance, vehicles, trailers, storage type vehicles. So that's what's happening with this particular ordinance. Any questions on the council?
I think this is a good thing. Nobody wants to sell my parked out in front of their house, overnight.
Right, and this is about air and light too, you know, if you're sitting on your porch, you don't want something blocking your air and light. It's also updating, you know, they called it a camp car, and literally a camp car is a train car. It's a housing for employees of a railroad. So I don't think we have any camp cars parked in driveways, so now it's a little more clearer definition. I use some of the verbiage too from Spring Lake and Avon. I talked to other council people, so this is just updating a few things, cleaning house in this ordinance.
So I have a couple of questions. It's my understanding that the genesis of some of these changes were related to a chronic issue that we have in town with the property. Is that where this was trying to address?
This might have helped us move this along and open our eyes a little bit to it, but yeah, this is very common with other towns too, like I said. So I'm just using
Right.
some of their verbiage just to update some of our ordinances. I mean, even previously, you can see some of our ordinance, you know, they just need work. And they're kind of fluid and changing, and so we're just trying to update things and keeping with the times. Some of these haven't been changed since 1974,
Right.
so.
Right. No, I'm all for
Yeah.
it. I'm just wondering if some of the genesis of this was in response to an issue that's ongoing currently in the borough with a propensity of construction vehicles at a property. And if that's the case, I don't think this has enough teeth to really address that problem. I don't know if that's related or not. But you know, Council President DeNoble and I have both been advised of an issue that's been going on for over a year now. And there seem to be some loopholes in trying to address the problem with a bunch of neighbors that have been really very respectful in trying to sort of work around a problem. And I don't think this will resolve that.
Like be a first step of something, but this is in the right direction.
It's definitely in a good direction overall in the borough.
Yes.
But you know, very easily, you know, if someone is operating a business out of their home, whether their vehicles are identified or not, as commercial vehicles, but it's clear that there's a fleet of vehicles. If they're parked from the front of the house to the back of the property and doing all of their business for all of these, whatever business it might be, they can still do that, right? Because we're talking about from the front of the house forward, right?
Greg, do you want to comment on this one?
I mean, commercial businesses are governed by also separate parts of the ordinance. This really relates to large vehicles, boats, everything. I'm not entirely familiar with the situation that you're talking about. But this would prevent it from basically parking large vehicles in the front yard envelope. I'm not sure if that completely addresses the situation you guys are talking about. But maybe we can talk about that after. I obviously don't want to give out the address like at the moment.
No, sir.
But right now, there's really nothing preventing you parking really anything in the front yard unless it's express for commercial purpose, you're using it like a yard. Pretty much, you have to really be using it for a business purpose to trigger the other regulations.
So if someone has a business and has a number of vehicles that are related to that business, if the vehicles are not listed as commercial vehicles, if they don't have identification that says what the business is, and they're parking, filling up their driveway, parking on the street in front of their home and other homes around the block, moving the vehicles around regularly, many complaints. I mean, I had kind of requested to get some information on how many actual complaints have been made. There's kind of a loophole with code enforcement because they don't recognize that they're commercial vehicles, but clearly there's a business. And it's been a problem, you know, that I don't think anyone.
That
would
sounds,
live next
so
to.
this is, I mean, that sounds like a deeper zoning analysis. I mean, I can tell you that there's commercially registered vehicles parking on the street. They're not allowed to be there under many of the ordinances that are written. This ordinance, less than focusing on the commercial or private nature of the vehicle, really, or boat or camper or whatever, you know, there's a lot of different descriptions of things in there, really focuses on the size. You know, I'm not sure if that addresses this issue or not. I don't know if there's like, you know, minivans. I'm not sure what that situation is. But there's things to address the public street, obviously. And there's just lots of that. This is just basically prevents you from parking a 40-foot boat to the sidewalk, pretty much. Or a camper or places where you should find someplace else to store it, or they're commercially available to store it. But if you have a passenger vehicle, whether it says, you know, ABC house cleaning on the sign, it's a minivan, that's gonna be allowed to be parked under this ordinance. Although there may be other issues if there's a lot being operated, those are more zoning issues.
How about a flatbed truck?
If it's longer than the size of the trailer that's listed in there, then it would not be allowed to be parked in the front yard envelope. But this ordinance focuses on the size of the vehicle or trailer or boat or camper, doesn't really do the business. It doesn't really, it might be insufficient to address what you're talking about.
Craig,
It really wasn't written with that in mind, say that.
there are also limitations. Councilwoman Greenblatt mentioned, rotating cars around and parking some of them on the street. There are restrictions on oversized vehicles being parked on the street as well.
Oh, yeah, you have a myriad of those already in place, yeah. They're, I don't know if I've reproduced it all in that ordinance, but they're below that in the code, in the police regulations.
So I think in part, I 100% recognize that Councilwoman Greenblatt is aware of and has lobbied for some change based on one specific instance. Looking at the entire community, you know, I guess what we have to contend with is how far do we go? Do we say you can't park your vehicles that are not commercially registered on your own property? I don't know that anyone
It'd be very difficult to
enforce.
them.
I think on the other hand, being consistent with our policy that already exists with dumpsters cannot appear in the front yard envelope as well. This is at least a first step in, you know, managing the appearance of the neighborhood for all involved.
So
So,
like if you have an F-150 and you're operating a business, got your name on the side, you could park that in your driveway under this ordinance. I didn't think that was the intent.
because you've got 10,000, whatever the poundage limit is,
Yeah,
it's significant.
it's significant. It's a truck. It's a truck.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't mean you know, it's a commercial truck. Like there's very little you could use it for otherwise, or a camper. The vehicle, you know, this wasn't intended, if you're just operating a contracting business with an F-150, you could park in your driveway with decals on it, I didn't want to open up that can of worms. But
So
we'll move all the big boats out of people's front yards.
So the question is just how far does this council want to go with
Right.
restricting and are we, you know, would we as a group consider going to a point where our attorney advises might not be enforceable? That you can't necessarily say, it's your property, you can't park any of your vehicles on it, even if they're not commercially registered. So this was presented by Mr. Cannon after discussion with at least me. I don't know, Greg, if you talked to anyone else, but I thought this was a good first step in at least managing the front yard envelope.
Yeah, let's see if this gives our zoning, our code officers, I guess, the tools they need to do what they have to do. In many situations it will, but let's see.
Okay. Fair enough.
I also will note that when I was researching this, doing this, in terms of a lot of towns many beach towns that are farther south of here or closer, you know, or like barrier islands, you're just not allowed to have this at all on the property, period. You're not allowed to have a boat, backyard, front yard, whatever, there's, you know, other significant fire concerns and things like that. This is somewhere, but almost everyone has one where you can't have it in your driveway. That if you have more than a 17-foot or 23-foot boat, which basically is a level of boat regulation, that you can't have it in front yard. But they'll let you put it in the backyard, the side yard. But you know, this is a very common ordinance in beach towns, period, front yard. The other ones were a little mixed as to whether you could have it on the property or not, but some banned it entirely. Boats particularly.
And Greg, let me put you on the spot, but for the research you've done, and you've shared a lot with me, so I asked this not only for my own edification, but in case, you know, anybody else is interested. What's your perspective, knowing what you know about other towns and the research you've done? We're trying to improve, we're trying to be better. Is there still room for further improvement, or are we getting to a point of where it might get to be a legal conflict?
I think this is perfectly reasonable. This allows you to keep, you know, if you have a jet ski or a small skiff or something that you might take out very often, right? Or it's more akin to trailering, right? Like let's pay a slip for a jet ski, right? You can keep that in your driveway because it's under the 23 feet. But if you have a 26 foot boat that you just don't want to buy a slip for, you don't want to pay winter storage for, you can't keep that next, block your neighbors, you backing out of the driveway all winter. Pretty much, I think it's a very reasonable compromise between what I saw online, from not allowed to have any boat on your property at all, in boat storage residential zones. To, this is if you have the room on your property on the side or the rear to hide it, then you're free to do that. You have something reasonable, you can keep it there, but you can't keep, a 40-foot boat with 4 outboards in the driveway next to your neighbor, it's, I think, reasonable.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments or questions? I'll make a motion that we approve the introduction of ordinance 2025-24, large vehicle trailer storage.
Second,
Ms. DeNoble?
yes.
Ms. Greenblatt?
Yes.
Mr. Nowicki?
Yes.
Mr. Weber?
Yes.
Mayor Guptezi?
Yes. Ordinance 2025-25, chapter 5, hiring a police officer. We actually had the opportunity to have a fairly lengthy discussion on this earlier. This bring everybody back to trying to give the council the appropriate authority, which is the mayor and the council, the ability to build the base of the pyramid by hiring in a potentially additional person over what the current ordinance allows. Any comments or questions?
I think there's a couple good points that,
Lauren?
Lauren, mentioned. One was the minimum of 17 officers is not a bad consideration, because what is that minimum, what is the goal, minimum size of police force? And so I think that that's actually something that we could consider putting in. So that you have
To lock in a
17, so that way, yeah, so so it doesn't give the chief the opportunity to just operate at 16. It says, no, we need to hire. They get that whole force of 17 at a minimum.
Wouldn't we be able to address, I thought of that too. But wouldn't, in the budget process, we would probably address that, but you kind of have to do the math for that reaching their budget and all, if he's said, oh, we're gonna drop down a couple of officers, like, we would notice that in the budget.
I mean, I think
We could push back on that then.
I don't disagree that the more definition we have, the clearer it is to all of us here, our residents. But the more definition we have, the less flexibility we have. So if the chief were to come to the governing body in some unusual circumstance and say, I don't need to replace this person, I'd rather give this other person a promotion and use that money to spend here for these reasons. I'm just suggesting there might be a reason in the future where we would want to have that flexibility. We would still have this discussion in public, I would think.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the downside. The upside, I think, we could give that flexibility, but I'd like to put the idea is a minimal size of force and not leave it up to something that could just operate over time, even in a budgetary issue. That the goal is, always if we're down to 16, we need to hire, we do. But so
What's your concern, though, that we might be understaffed? Because I don't think the chief would
I don't think that he would want that.
allow that to happen.
So we could, I guess, what's the catch of that? How do we?
That lost flexibility for us.
Okay,
I think that's the challenge.
right.
And the chief. But again, I don't think there's any motive I can even anticipate where us or a future council would just
Right.
secretly try to diminish the
Just
size
raise
of
all the salaries, the budget's still the same, but we have less policemen. That would be the scenario, right? I don't think we would go there, but I just want to make sure that we, recognize that there,
Yeah.
that flexibility does leave that opening. That a reduction of police force would not be a good thing, and it kind of leaves that open.
Well, I think the spirit of this is that he can hire more, not hire less.
Right, I want to
So,
see that's the spirit of it.
Yeah.
and to create flexibility for all involved.
This is true
Right,
too,
and
yes.
I also agree that the resolution to have to hire, I think we've addressed that concern, so I'm okay with that. So I'm okay with the opening up to the flexibility. And the slippery slope of a reduction would be a concern, so long as we somehow are guarded from that and aware that we don't want to reduce our force. I think that's the important point I'm trying to make.
I'm sorry, you were gonna say.
I was just gonna say, I would imagine that it's based on the population size generally. And, the fact that we're also a tourist town, so, you know, if our population changes, if our population increases, you know, I don't know, I mean, I'm kind of in agreement with Paul about having no fewer than, but if it causes, you know, any constraints, as you had mentioned, you know, I guess that's something.
And I do think that it's not just the size of Bradley Beach, we have growth, significant growth happening in Neptune City right across Memorial Avenue. So that it's not just about our population, it's about the surrounding community population and the need for, you know, policing with that growth of the adjacent communities. So
I
it's
mean,
really important.
no one is arguing, including me.
Right.
No. Every discussion I have is how can we increase policing?
Yes.
But 5 years from now or 10 years from now, when none of us are sitting here and
Maybe.
or maybe
You never know.
and some police chief says to some new mayor and council, we really need to decrease staff for some reason. We'd have to change the ordinance at that point.
And you can do it within 34 days, so.
No, again, we can do that, as
Yeah.
Ms. Egbert pointed out earlier. The goal here was simply working with Mr. Cannon and the chief to try to come up with something that would give us all that flexibility. Nobody's worried that we're gonna forget and go, oh, it used to be 17, but now now we're at 16 and we've
Kind of left that.
we forgot it, yeah. Mr. Cannon, I don't think this is a risk. That said, would you have any concerns with creating language that says we're still targeting a minimum of 17?
Yeah, I had a feeling this might happen, so I started writing it. Says the department will consist of a police chief and at least 17 sworn regular members of the police department, but as many sworn regular members of the police department as the appropriate authority may deem necessary to ensure the safety and security of the borough. That doesn't sound too great. At least 17 sworn regular members of the police officers or as many.
I think by changing, we're hamstringing ourselves a little.
Yeah, so I'm okay leaving it.
Okay,
At state.
let's-
Right,
yeah.
right. I don't know that it's
Some try
much of a
here.
risk, it's just.
Wait, said the other way, we.
Let's reverse it the other way. I could reverse it the other way.
Well, I think we're getting more.
How about this? And as many sworn regular members of the police department as the appropriate authority shall deem necessary to ensure the safety and security of the borough. And in no event shall the police department consist of less than 18 members, including the police chief.
Okay, okay, why are you're saying that, just to be clear, because the current language excludes the chief, right?
Yes. And then you go down to the bottom, we carry that language to the patrol, that it would be as many patrol officers as may be deemed sufficient and necessary by the appropriate authority, but in no event shall there be less than 11 patrolmen.
Again, I think we're unnecessarily limiting ourselves, but
By over defining.
yeah.
Yeah.
And plus, earlier, Greg, the ordinance used to reference 17 excluding the chief. So we gotta make sure that we're consistent, where are we including or excluding, right? I don't have it in front of me.
I'm okay leaving it the way it was, right, I think we're okay, I don't think it's a significant.
I did give it a try for you, and Dennis.
Right.
Is everyone okay with
Yeah.
moving forward as originally planned to introduce, or are there still changes we should consider?
The chief's okay with it, right?
The chief's okay with it.
Then it's okay.
Captain, are you okay with it?
Yes, we have to have at least these.
Okay.
Okay,
Thank you for that protection.
yes.
All right, then, thank you for all that discussion. I think based on coming full circle, we're back to feeling comfortable with this, the revised wording. So I'll make a motion that we approve the introduction of ordinance 2025-25, chapter 5, hiring a police officer.
Second,
Ms. Noble?
Yes.
Ms. Greenblatt?
Yes.
Mr. Nowicki?
yes.
Mr. Weber?
Yes.
Mayor Gubatosi?
Yes. Okay, we are moving to an adoption of an ordinance, and this will allow public comments, so let me make a motion to open it to the public for comment.
Second,
Ms. DeNoble?
yes.
Ms. Greenblatt?
Yes.
Mr. Nowicki?
Yes.
Mr. Weber?
Yes.
Mayor Gubatose?
Yes, and I'll open it to the public for comments on bond ordinance 2025-19, which again is borrowing that we are advancing in order to do repairs on Fifth Avenue sewer. Any comments or questions? Okay, seeing no comments or questions, I'll make a motion to close public comment and adopt bond ordinance 2025-19.
Second.
Ms. DeNoble?
Yes.
Ms. Greenblatt?
Yes.
Mr. Nowicki?
Yes.
Mr. Weber?
Yes.
Mayor Gubatose?
Yes. Also up for adoption and also for public comment, ordinance 2025-21, ordinance amending chapter 160, which is basically updating our construction code, uniform certificates of occupancy of the borough's revised general ordinances to update and increase certain fees. I'll make a motion, open it to the public for comment or question.
Second.
Ms. DeNoble?
Yes.
Ms. Greenblatt?
Yes.
Mr. Nowicki?
Yes.
Mr. Weber?
Yes.
Mayor Gubatose?
Yes. Public comment or questions?
So boring, this bad.
We're losing people.
Okay, seeing none, I will make a motion to close public comment and adopt ordinance 2025-21.
Second.
Ms. DeNoble?
Yes.
Ms. Greenblatt?
Yes.
Mr. Nowicki?
Yes.
Mr. Weber?
Yes.
Mayor Gubatose?
Yes. Moving to item 10 on the agenda, communications. The communication is a liaison appointment memo for the Revolution, New Jersey and the Monmouth County 250th anniversary. And specifically, the memo to Borough Council identifies the following. The following two individuals will serve as liaisons and represent the borough for the Monmouth County 250th anniversary program. And those two individuals are Amy Hall, our tourism director, and Mr. Paul Nishampkin, our Historical Society chairman, and Mr. Nishampkin is with us tonight. So thank you, sir, for volunteering to be one of our liaisons. And thank you to Amy Hall, wherever she is. Okay, moving on to item 11. We have resolutions. We have two items on the consent agenda. Would anyone on the council like to vote, have any discussion or vote either of these out separately?
I just want to say that this is a long time in coming and thank Mr. Nishampkin as borough historian of the Historical Society.
Well deserved.
And there is actually, now I'm looking for 2025-241.
Hold on.
You have it? Shada, do you have it? Would you mind reading it? Because the actual resolution.
241? Sure.
Yep, they can have it.
Yeah.
I'm asking Councilwoman Greenblatt to read this because it does recognize Mr. Nishampkin's contributions to the borough. And that is obviously the backdrop for.
Shall you have it?
I do.
Okay, great.
Yeah. Resolution 2025-241, appointing Paul Nishampkin as borough historian. Whereas historic preservation is relevant for communities across the nation. And it is important to celebrate the role of history in our lives and the contributions made by dedicated individuals in helping to preserve the tangible aspects of the heritage. And whereas historic preservation is an effective tool for managing growth, revitalizing neighborhood, fostering local pride, and maintaining community character while enhancing livability. And whereas Paul Nishampkin has been very active in preserving artifacts and memorabilia for the history of Bradley Beach, for the Historical Museum, and by displaying items of historical significance to Bradley Beach. Whereas Paul Nishampkin has conducted historical research regarding the history of Bradley Beach and volunteered many long hours of his time to do so. So now, therefore, be it resolved, the mayor and council wish to appoint Mr. Nishampkin as the borough historian and wish to express their appreciation for his meritorious service, loyalty, and dedication to the history of the borough of Bradley Beach.
Thank you, Councilwoman.
You're here.
Here to make a comment, sir.
I'd like to thank the Mayor and Council very much. And I'd be proud to fill this position. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so moving on now with the two consent agenda resolution items. We are not voting them out separately, but I'll make a motion that we approve 2025-240, the approval of for Special Olympics New Jersey to conduct their 5K race on Saturday, November 15th from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. Pass through only, and for appointing Mr. Paul Nashemkin as our borough historian.
Second.
Mr. Noble?
Yes.
Ms. Greenblatt?
Yes.
Mr. Nowicki?
Yes.
Mr. Weber?
Yes.
Mayor Gubatosi?
Yes. Moving to individual resolutions, 2025-242 approving, and I should say a number of these are QPA related, just continuing to tighten up our procurement processes. So 2025-242 approving certification of the U.S. Equal Employment Opportunity Commission. Do I have I'll make a motion to approve.
Second. Mr. Noble?
Yes.
Ms. Greenblatt?
Yes.
Mr. Nowicki?
Yes.
Mr. Weber?
Yes.
Mayor Gubatosi?
Yes. 2025-243 approval, I'll make a motion to approve the approval of an increase in the bid threshold pursuant to NJSA 40A:11-3.
Second.
Mr. Noble?
Yes.
Ms. Greenblatt?
Yes.
Mr. Nowicki?
Yes.
Mr. Weber?
Yes.
Mayor Gubatosi?
Yes. 2025-244 approving authorizing the use of purchasing procedures manual and vendor manual. I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Mr. Noble?
Yes.
Mr. Nowicki?
Yes.
Did I get you? You skipped. Ms. Greenblatt?
Yes.
Mr. Weber?
Yes.
Mayor Gubatosi?
Yes. 2025-245, this is authorizing the procurement of vehicles and accessories through New Jersey State Contract 23-Fleet-34933 pursuant to New Jersey State Contract Division of Purchase and Property. Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Mr. Noble?
Yes.
Ms. Greenblatt?
Yes.
Mr. Nowicki?
Yes.
Mr. Weber?
Yes.
Mayor Gubatosi?
Yes. Okay, 2025-246 for the public's benefit, we've had some emergency repairs on our HVAC unit in the Carmen Biazzi Center. So we've already actually enlisted a contractor to fix the air conditioning there. This is authorizing an emergency HVAC unit repair at the Carmen A. Biazzi Center. Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Mr. Noble?
Yes.
Ms. Greenblatt?
Yes.
Mr. Nowicki?
Yes.
Mr. Weber?
Yes.
Mayor Gubatosi?
Yes. And then after that repair, we had another emergency on our HVAC unit, also at the Carmen Biazzi Center. That is 2025-247, authorizing a second emergency HVAC unit repair. I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Mr. Noble?
Yes.
Ms. Greenblatt?
Yes.
Mr. Nowicki?
Yes.
Mr. Weber?
Yes.
Mayor Gubatosi?
Yes. Resolution 2025-248, authorizing emergency storm drain and roadway repair at Evergreen and Central Avenues. I will make a motion to approve.
I have a question.
Please.
We know what this was caused by? This was sewers were all replaced there.
Yeah, let me ask if our business administrator knows. Matt, this emergency storm drain and roadway repair at Evergreen and Central Avenues. Do you recall what specifically?
Yeah, there was a sinkhole
Oh.
right at that corner. And the police came out, cleaned it all off for a day, and then we were able to get the emergency repair done.
Is that unusual? I mean, we had the.
They didn't replace the storm sewers, they replaced the sanitary
Right.
sewers, but what could have happened is that could have just, that storm sewer failed. And so what happened over time and washed away and caused that sinkhole that typically was.
Collapse.
Hopefully they catch those during the sewer projects, but sometimes the work isn't even near the storm projects. If they don't cross them or, interact with them, and they don't deal with those. Unless there's some obvious, problem, you have the contractor fix them.
And it was emergency authorization as well. So,
Looking for a second, I'll second.
yeah, I made a motion. please. No
Mr.
problem.
Noble?
Yes.
Ms. Greenblatt?
Yes.
Mr. Nowicki?
Yes.
Mr. Weber?
Yes.
Mayor Gubatosi?
Yes. Resolution 2025-249, authorizing general engineering services with CME Associates for Sylvan Lake Outlet Control Gate Replacement. Comments, especially from Mr. Councilman Nowicki. Any comments
Yeah,
here?
no, with a little explanation on this, there's a series of projects that are critical to the lake. This particular one is the outlet gate, which basically controls the water flow. Either holds back the water in the lake or allows water to pass out to the ocean. And that gate is, pretty old, and that we actually 2 years ago had a failure of that gate. And DPW ended up going in there and doing, temporary repairs on it. We had engineers look at it, they assessed it, they helped define how to fix it temporarily. And now over the last 2 years, it continues to fail. And then we fix it with, plastic and measures. And so right now, we know that, and you heard from the report earlier, we got hurricanes and whatnot. This gate is critical to the health and safety of the community, prevent flooding, as well as the potential of that gate failing and all the water leaving the lake, threatening all the habitat and wildlife as well. So it's a mode problem, overflowing lake and or the lake emptying. So this is a critical piece of the infrastructure and it needs to get fixed. It was actually identified for the last 2 years, and so we need to move on this. Avon is going to be cost sharing with us on this project, and we're looking to see how we can get this done with either grant money or with the outfall project. That's the ocean outfall pipe that's being replaced by DEP this fall. We're looking to see how we can actually find partners to help get this done. On the worst case, we're gonna have to, bond or borrow to get that work done. But this is getting the engineering done first. We gotta get it moving and the permit process so that we can actually address this, hopefully in construction sometime this winter or no later than spring. So it's gonna take a process to get it done through DEP.
Any other comments, questions? Okay, I'll make a motion to approve 2025-249, authorizing the general engineering services with CME Associates for Sylvan Lake outlet control gate replacement.
Second.
Ms. DeNoble?
Yes.
Ms. Greenblatt?
Yes.
Mr. Nowicki?
Yes.
Mr. Weber?
Yes.
Mayor Gubatese?
Yes. Quick comment on 2025-250. This is us, the council, the governing body of Bradley Beach, making a request to the state DOT to allow us to move those 15-minute parking spaces to 2-hour limits. So 2025, I'll make a motion that we approve 2025-250, authorizing a request to the DOT, New Jersey DOT, to change the time limit on parking spaces on the west side of Main Street in front of the police department.
Second.
Ms. DeNoble?
I just want to say a quick thanks to everybody. This was a team effort between the businesses, you, the chief of police, and this, I've been looking for this to be done for the last 10 years. So I really appreciate this. And I'm gonna say yes.
Ms. Greenblatt?
Yes.
Mr. Nowicki?
Yeah, I also just want to say that it's a great balance between the community and the borough employees and public safety. How you got this done is taking us some time, but I think it's a great solution. So yes.
Mr. Weber?
But the state's gonna make it take longer, but some businesses are really gonna be happy. Glad I'm getting this done, so I vote yes as well.
Mayor Gubatese?
Yes. Okay, 2025-251, authorizing the retention of expert witness WJH Engineering for zoning enforcement in the matter of Garrison et al. Versus Bradley Beach et al. Docket number MON-L-3458-22. Mr. Cannon, is this worth a 1-minute summary of why we're doing this one?
Sure, the borough's engaged in a lawsuit that by the title Garrison versus Bradley Beach. Has to do with zoning violations on the property, the part of the case that I'm handling. As we discussed, notwithstanding my best efforts to resolve the matter, satisfaction of all parties, we have to continue with litigation, and therefore I need an expert outside the borough to opine on the zoning violations that exist upon the property.
Very good, thank you.
And this is not a new case. It's from,
It's been a while, right?
The docket number is on there, the last 2 numbers of the year it was filed.
okay, oh, so 2022, thank you.
2022. Yeah, I mean,
Any other questions or comments? Okay, I will make a motion that we approve individual resolution 2025-251, authorizing the retention of the expert witness.
Second.
Ms. DeNoble?
Yes.
Ms. Greenblatt?
Yes.
Mr. Nowicki?
Yes.
Mr. Weber?
Yes.
Mayor Gubatese?
Yes. Item 2025-252. This is authorizing the settlement of pending litigation before the Superior Court of New Jersey, Monmouth County, entitled Hall versus Borough of Bradley Beach, docket number MON-L-2713-24. Any comments or questions?
I'll say something. So I'm, new to the council, relative to this, which I believe if the last two digits, 24, reflects 2024. So this was ongoing, I guess, in 2023 and 2024. So I've gotten myself up to speed on this issue and I, feel that I've gotten enough information to be able to vote on this.
I think with any settlement, it's just important to restate that the two sides are meeting somewhere in the middle. Neither side is, we're not, we, the borough, the council and the governing body are not acknowledging blame. And as in any case, the litigant is settling for something less than their own claim. So this is a matter of meeting in the middle, doing what we all think is in the best interest of the public and of Bradley Beach.
And frankly, the payout for the borough is $2,500, which is the deductible. That's the money that comes out of the borough.
So
Jim, yeah.
Right.
Well, I think that's an important point, is that, this isn't something that was just decided here at the borough. There's an insurance company involved and they believe that this is the appropriate way to handle this matter as well.
So our out of pocket is
The
$2,500.
borough's out of pocket is 2,500 and the entity that's actually paying the money has recommended this as a resolution to the matter.
And I will add, I think it's important to say that this administration, your administration, is settling lawsuits from past years and not bringing on new ones. We're settling the old ones. Well, don't say that. Yeah.
I go with, yes.
In fact, look,
And Mayor, I just like to also say, similar to Councilwoman Greenblatt, I too was not on the council this time. And, thank you for, council and yourselves bringing us up to speed on this and sharing the documentation so that we could actually, be able to, help find the balance and support the resolution of this.
And thank you. So no further comments. I will make a motion that we approve resolution 2025-252, authorizing the settlement of the pending litigation.
Second,
Ms. DeNoble?
yes.
Ms. Greenblatt?
Yes.
Mr. Nowicki?
Yes.
Mr. Weber?
yes.
Mayor Guberta?
Yes. Okay, final item on our resolutions is the bill list. It's item 2025-253. The bill is dated July 15th. Any comments or questions?
I reviewed it. I had no questions.
I have one item, there's a charge by TMM Associates with the Ocean Outfall project. And I know that they had completed their design previously and the charges may be fine. I just wasn't aware that they were actually currently working on the assignment. I'm not sure if these are old charges or current. But there is going to be engagement with them as we go forward. So I'd like to be able to the administration could actually check and see what those charges were for. And also what the status is of the agreement. All the costs that they did on that Ocean Outfall project are being shared, cost sharing with Avon. And so I want to just get a status of where are we at with all of that. And this is an opportunity just to take a look at that charge as well. And just so, are we all bundled up with that work today prior to construction and then the path forward on construction? We need to take a quick look at that. This is a different engineer than, it's not CME, it's T&M. And so they're not engaged in other projects. And so I'd like to get, I think the borough needs to take a closer look and say what's remaining in that contract for their support during construction and their role with PPP and how much money is remaining, making sure we have a budget still available based on what they spend it today. So on this particular charge, I would like to stall it or take it out of here and just, let's figure that out before we release another check.
Well, can you, where is this charge? What?
Page
Which
9,
page?
page 9,
Yeah, page 9.
near the bottom.
And it may be, appropriate, but I think we just need to double check that on where they're at with this, with their role.
It says services through 6/20/2025. I don't know if that's meaningful at all.
Yeah, so I thought I'd take a
Stormwater.
closer look at that.
I don't have the invoices.
Yeah, it just says-
Okay, so
And the QT was out of, there were, our accounts payable was not here last week when I questioned, was asking about that status of that work. So I think we just need to button that up and let's take a look at that before we.
Is it any indication, because it says
Said no.
stormwater outfall soft
as it sounds like.
Yeah, that's design cost, but their design is complete, so I just don't know what that activity is. And I'm more concerned about the path forward with their contract and making sure that, you know, remaining budget. And what work are they doing on it currently, because there shouldn't be really much after.
Yeah.
So, so the question, the dollar amount is $646.
Yeah.
The question and we can go either way on this, we can vote either way. Do we approve payment and circle back and say, okay, what was the $646? It looks like it's tied to an ordinance from 2022.
Right, which was when the design took place in 2022, 23, when permitting submitted, that's when they were contracted. And that's why I'm sort of questioning its merit.
Or if you prefer, you could make a motion that we carve this out separately, vote on the rest of the bill list and wait to revisit.
I would suggest we make a motion to carve this out and then vote on the rest of it as is.
Second. Mr. Noble?
Yes.
Ms. Greenblatt?
Yes.
Mr. Nowicki?
Yes.
Mr. Weber?
Yes.
Mayor Gubatosi?
Yes. Noting that we will follow up with TMA to just understand what the services.
Right, you know.
TNF, sorry. And now, I'll make a motion that we approve the rest of the July 15, 2025 bill list with the exclusion of that one charge for TNF.
Second.
Mr. Noble?
Yes.
Ms. Greenblatt?
Yes.
Mr. Nowicki?
Yes.
Mr. Weber?
Yes.
Mayor Gubatosi?
Yes. Okay, item 12 on the agenda is announcements. There are none. Item 13A that we all wait for eagerly every meeting, the administrator's report. Mr. Doherty.
Yes, Serviceman. Thank you. I just want to bring the mayor council up to date on the demolition at 319 Lorraine. The building has been knocked down and they are going to start carting away the remains this week to next week with the goal of having the entire site cleaned up with new topsoil, fertilizer, and seed application by the end of the day on July 20th. So hopefully by the end of this month, the entire site will be cleared and ready to go. And when I say ready to go, we're gonna look to start marketing the lots. So working with Sean Canning, our QPA, as to how we auction off these lots, we think it's important to start marketing them to get as much of an interest as possible in the 4 lots. Right now, tentatively, we're aiming to have an auction at the second council meeting in September. I think that'll give us plenty of time to, again, market, whether it's things like homes and land, also do press, but to try to get as much interest as possible, to generate as much revenue for the taxpayers here in Bradley Beach. Next, we hired a new code enforcer. Right now, everyone performing code enforcement duties does it as a part of another job they do. So for instance, we have 2 members of our Department of Public Works who also act as a code enforcers. They're more reactive. The gentleman we hired is going to be active. So they'll literally be driving around looking for code violations. We are not interested. We hope that he never writes a summons or issues any fines. We're simply looking to bring people into compliance with the existing code that's on the books through a variety of ordinances, some of which this council's been a part of. So he will be out there and he's going to be very aggressive in bringing folks into compliance with existing code. Next, we've also brought on an intern, a young woman who's going to be going to college this coming, I guess, the end of August. We only got her for about 6 weeks. But it sort of triggered the idea that we should really start looking towards bringing more interns into the municipal government here in Bradley Beach. There are a lot of smart, talented young people who live in Bradley Beach. So we'd love people to, you know, forward names and suggest folks that are either at the end of their high school career or somewhere at the beginning or in their college career that would be interested in the many different facets of municipal government. We'd love to hear from residents if they have any suggestions. Yes, sir.
Where did we find this intern?
Pardon?
Where did we find this intern? Like, what are they?
Oh, the current one?
Correct.
Someone I know, said, hey, my granddaughter is looking to intern and she's interested in studying real estate and business. We right now are putting together a landlord registration. And, you know, it's one of those tasks that is challenging for our current staff to tackle because they're already doing other things. So this way, it's a limited time frame. It's a specific task for this intern. She's gonna complete it. She's very well versed on the computer, just her generation is much better than most of us. So, you know, it's those type of tasks that we'd like to assign to interns. So as opposed to just coming into municipal government, have specific things, whether it's in the building department, could be in the recreation department, whatever other departments we have where, you know, we have those needs for tasks that have specific start and end dates.
Sounds like a great project for an intern. I just ask is, you know, should we be reaching out to places like Monmouth University or Brookdale or whatever? So I was like, did they come from a specific, you know, school or program? I guess not, but just maybe we think about that. We could reach out to those schools and others.
Right, in this case, this young lady is going to start Montclair State University again, end of August, but we are going through the process, and Michelle Weiler has been very helpful with this. To reach out to Brookdale and to reach out to Monmouth University.
We have some sort of standing agreements with those two entities already, Monmouth and Brookdale, so I think we can build on that, as Councilman Weber was saying, and Matt, to your point about bringing in this one intern. You and I discussed just earlier today, we probably could use one or two more, because we peak of the season, we do have backlogs in certain areas, and a lot of it is just processing paperwork. And we can use some people who have some technology expertise as well to help us.
Yes, sir. Also want to update the mayor and council. Last Monday, 8 days ago, there was a hearing on an appeal of the zoning permit for Darcy's outdoor dining. Under the state statute, anyone is able to appeal that permit. Some did appeal it. The day of the hearing, they withdrew their appeal, which they're entitled to do. The hearing officer still wanted to go through the process because it was a public hearing. Went through the process and made his determination in writing. And he determined that the zoning permit was proper and that the town did follow the proper procedures. Beach revenue. I don't have an exact number, but we're doing very well. I can tell you that the July 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, Thursday to Sunday, the weather was great. We generated over $150,000 in revenue. One of the things that really stood out was about $117,000 in cash and coins. So one of our goals is to move to a cashless beachfront next year. Just to give you an idea of some of the process of when you deal with cash. It all gets counted on the beachfront. Then it goes through the police department, then the police department brings it to the front office. It gets counted there again, then it goes back to a police officer who takes it to the bank. Which obviously is not a very efficient process. So
That's a lot of points.
And it'll go to Atlantic City first.
So hopefully, by next year, we'll be completely cashless up on the beachfront. We mentioned Ocean Park Sewer. Lastly, just want to mention that, and I think we mentioned this before, that the court administrator, Patricia McGill, is retiring. We had a variety of outstanding applicants for the position. The mayor and I interviewed several of them, 5 of them total, just this yesterday, and along with our current judge and 2 other administrators in Monmouth County. And you know, a lot of folks may not know Patricia McGill, which is a good thing, because that means you've never been in court. But she has done a tremendous job. We run a very efficient court. You know, when you talk to other towns, they look at how well the Bradley Beach Court is run, and that's a testament to her. So, it's, you know, we're gonna take our time to make sure, to make sure that we find the right person to replace her. But it's our goal to have that right person replacing her sometime, in August, certainly by the end of August. That's all for me. Any questions from the council? Yes, ma'am.
I just wanted to, oh, I'm
Go
sorry.
ahead, no, please.
Comment, I know two people who live across the street from 319 Lorraine. And I just want to say that they really commended the process of the demolition company, that they thought they did a wonderful job. So it's important to share good stories, because I'm sure there are often many alternative stories. So, and in addition, there was a resident who I guess you greeted at his door, and he was very happy that you came by. So I commend you for, you know, walking the beat on Lorraine Avenue and communicating with the residents. I think that's really important. So thank you for that.
I try my best so they don't come up here to this
Right.
dais.
And I just wanted to ask about the new code enforcer. Is this individual full-time, part-time?
Right now, he'd be considered, seasonal, with the idea of, you know, making him full-time, after the summer.
So seasonal, full-time at the moment?
Seasonal part-time.
Okay.
One of the things that I've always discovered, is, you know, when you hire folks, it's nice to have a little period when you get to know them, they get to know the position, to make sure that it's gonna be a good fit. So hopefully by the end of August, we'll know if this is gonna be a good fit.
Good, thank you.
Hey, Matt, thank you, for 319 as well, because I know demolition is a dirty job. And, there's a lot of community concern around it, and it's gone, you know, smoothly for a deconstruction project. So thank you for shepherding that through. Any information or, on the, Park Mobile? You mentioned the beach revenue. How's the Park Mobile working? Any feedback on that?
The Park Mobile is working well. We are running into some instances when folks don't put in their right numbers and letters of their license plate. So if you're off by a digit, you get a ticket. Now, the good thing is when you can show, hey, I was off by a digit, I did pay, that ticket does go away. So there's a little bit of operator error by the end user, but and also if folks have pre-programmed cars, they may have 3 cars in their Park Mobile. They may have driven the different one than what's the default. They just go to Park Mobile, they think they paid, and in fact, they paid for a car that's sitting in their driveway. So we've run into some of those issues, but overall, it's working really well.
Thank you.
And one other thing before I finish, I want to thank Paul Shanka for this. The demo company was able to save the bell in the church. And that bell's ultimate house, home, you know, will be at the school. So right now, we're looking at the condition of the bell, see if we gotta clean it up, not clean it up, see what type of things we need to do to a bell that's God knows how old. And then bring that to the school. Our Department of Public Works, you know, will mount it properly on some type of a concrete pad. So we can continue to have a home here in Bradley Beach.
Wasn't that bell funded from the school? Maybe Mr. Nishankin can share that information. It's so interesting.
Yes.
Couldn't hear the
The
question.
bell, the bell, what's the history of the bell?
The history of the bell. The bell was purchased by the children of the parish in 1900. They collected the pennies and bought the bell. And basically, and we thought it would be most appropriate to put it in the schoolyard. The superintendent Heidelberg agreed. And I want to thank you for helping get it out. Demolition people had a difficult time doing it, but they did a good job. In order to reduce the amount of money that might have to be outlaid by the borough on this. I've already started fundraising. And actually, we have over $1,500 that we can apply towards things like a bronze informational plaque. Any kind of work we have to do on it to make it more appealing. So, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Doherty. Thank you. I was gonna make a similar comment to that offered by Councilwoman Greenblatt. That construction project was a massive undertaking in the middle of a residential neighborhood. I know it didn't have its moments of challenge. Residents calling you with concerns, complaints, just about the dust or about how much water was being applied to control the dust or various things. Watching you from my perch on the world, I thought you did an amazing job, especially being out and with the people, talking to people, just as Councilwoman Greenblatt mentioned. I saw that happen on numerous occasions. And for all the challenges that came your way, you handled them very well. So thank you for all that effort. I appreciate it. Okay, that concludes the administrator report. It is time for mayor and council reports, and I'm going to start with Councilman Weber.
A long one first.
Go ahead.
All right, everybody, let's skip that. Everybody.
Skip that.
Listen, everybody loves our DPW and they do a great job. They make sure that all your garbage and recycling gets out of the front of your yard every week. So I want to ask people to help them by flattening your cardboard boxes. You are only taking up more space in either the Kubota, if that comes by your house, or in the even in the truck. If you just leave your cardboard in its box form, flatten your cardboard boxes, please. You say, it's just one box and it goes into a big crusher. Yeah, but if 500 people leave their boxes uncrushed, it just, at the end of the day, it just takes up all that much more space. So flatten them. On the theme of good news or people saying good things about people, we got a very nice letter from a resident on Newark Avenue that wanted to compliment Mike at the DPW because he simply requested when he saw Mike down at the DPW yard, and he said, hey, we got this crooked street sign and it's been crooked for like years and I've tried to fix it and I don't know what this guy tried to do to fix it, or get it fixed by the town before. But DPW came and said, yes, and they fixed it. So that was great. Congratulations, Paul. It is super ironic that you were bestowed this honor at this meeting, but it's well deserved, and congratulations on the last. And finally, everyone's going to hear from me on the church because I've been silenced on this for years, and not anymore. So the last administration really went out of their way to silence me on this issue. But just to recap for everybody, in because a lot of people in town, it's been so long, people are like, why is this a controversy? How did we get here? What happened? In 2019, the mayor and council at the time voted to buy the church. It was unanimous. It wasn't controversial at all. And why did we do that? It's because 500 people signed a petition to save the church. We had a council meeting in this room that was standing room only, and everybody except for one person was saying, save this church. And just even more context, it was the day after Election Day in 2019 that the Camp Meeting Association of Ocean Grove, who owned it, put it up for sale. And that was really disappointing to me because I was like, I just ran for election. I just knocked on almost every door in this town. I had a team of people that knocked on every door in this town. It really would have been great to know that you were going to sell this thing. And then we could have asked people like, how do you feel about that? Have you gotten the pulse? I thought we got the pulse when 500 people signed a petition and packed this room and all that stuff. But so I think, and the idea, of course, was to turn it into a community center. And I think that, the thought process was some of the following. Our public facilities are really lacking. And that's actually being charitable about it. And here's some of the real things that have happened in this town since we bought this church, which to me highlight that we really could have used some extra public space and a really nice community center. We have an arts council that has nowhere to put on a play. Shakespeare at the Beach has been canceled several times because they put on Shakespeare at the Beach in middle of summer and there's like 95-degree heat. And they just had to cancel. Really would have been nice if they had a place to move to and get that done. The Arts Council, they use they use the school for other performances, which is really nice that the school lets them do that. I think that's not such a great idea for safety reasons. Having hundreds of people in the school for weekend performances kind of makes school security a heck of a lot harder in the following week. It would just be better if the Arts Council had a space of their own, so to speak. Kids in this town, kids in this town, I got kids, what they do after school, a lot of times, they go to the library. Why do they go to the library? It's because there's nowhere else for them to go. I have had adults tell me, as I was running for council, that they don't use our library because there's so many kids there in the afternoon. Just would be great to have those kids have a place to go. During COVID, again, I have kids, I send them to recreation camp in the summer, and during COVID, our recreation camp, they would have to send kids home if it rained. Because our recreation center wasn't big enough to accommodate all the kids inside, with the social distancing rules that they had to follow. So would have been nice to have a bigger space for those kids to go. We have this great thing in town now, we didn't really have back then, but songwriters on the beach. We've been really lucky, it doesn't really get rained out, but imagine if it was just pouring and all these people were looking forward to seeing some of these artists. It would be great to have a place for them to go, and have those performances. We have a historical society that really doesn't have enough space to store and display all their artifacts. That has been a controversy in this room time and time again. The Biazzi Center, they're kind of getting kicked out and all that stuff. We don't have a place to show a movie. We used to have a place to show a movie. It was the Biazzi Center. I've used it myself. It wasn't great, but it worked. At first, some of that space was given over to the code and construction offices. First time with the knowledge and permission of the council, made the space a little smaller. We could still use it to show a movie and whatnot. The second time it was done without the knowledge of or the consent of the council. So now it's no longer big enough to set up 50 or 60 chairs and show a movie or have a speaker or have a slideshow or anything like that. Sure, we can ask the fire department and they're great and they oblige us when they can, but they can't always. They rent out their space for money. They need the money, they need that rental income, and it can certainly cause a conflict for them when the town asks for their space and we want it for free. With this, idea of a community center, we never really fully explored the idea of leasing the space to somebody once it, was fixed up and usable. Other towns have arrangements like this where they rent out their public spaces for weddings or events, or they lease it to some kind of vendor or something like that. They pay us. And when their lease is up, we still own the building and our leasee probably paid us to pay for improvements. These kind of arrangements happen in other towns. Foreshadowing the process, where we knew this was gonna be mismanaged for years, came right in the beginning in the real estate transaction. Normally in a New Jersey real estate transaction, the seller pays for asbestos removal. But we didn't have a realtor involved who would have looked out for our interests, despite myself and other people arguing that we should have a realtor involved in the process. So at the end, we had to pay for the asbestos removal. We're probably the only buyer of a property in this history of the state of New Jersey that's paid for asbestos removal. So obviously, some people soured on the idea of a community center somewhere along the lines. I can't help but imagine that, developers got in the ears of certain people and convinced them that it'd be much better to develop this property. Some people would say, look at the tax revenue the town's gonna get. But everyone needs to know that the rateable chase, which is what I call that, the idea of developing land so you get more properties to tax, the rateable chase is always a losing proposition. We had a person on the council with 25 years of experience in construction management, and they said there is no way that fixing up that church would have cost $10 million. Absolutely no way. But even if it was going to cost $10 million, and the town voted not to spend it, that is the point in the whole story when I think we should have said, let's go after grants then. So people won't have to spend money turning this into a community center. Let's face it, there's grants for everything that would have taken place in that community center. There are grants for recreation. There's grants for youth activities. There's grants for activities with seniors. There are grants for open space. There's grants for historic preservation. And these grants exist at all levels of government, local, state, and federal. I know for a fact that Congressman Frank Pallone's office has a staff person that is dedicated to nothing but grants. And they would have gladly helped us if they were asked, and I know for a fact that they were never asked. So of all the things that were mismanaged in the 4-year saga of this church, what bothers me the most is that people in the town did not even look for these grants. In fact, they said, here in this room, there's no grants, there's no grants. It was as preposterous as it was dishonest. And, I think differently about this than a lot of people in town. Again, like I said, I'm raising kids here. But people have just moved here in the last few years, or people that just decided to finally come here after having a summer home for a long time. I guarantee that those people came from a town with a very nice community center. I don't even have to ask what town they came from. They came from a town with a community center. And so I understand people think about it differently. I absolutely have a different opinion again, with it. I'm raising kids here, so that may not be the last of it, but that was a good, big, long thing about the church, so appreciate you all indulging me on that. Sorry, some of the regulars weren't here to hear all that, but that's my report, Mr. Mayor. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Councilman. I'll turn to Councilwoman Greenblatt.
The Arts Council met Monday, July 7th. The Arts Council is hosting a children's art workshop entitled Color My World, Tuesday, July 29th at 4 p.m. For students in grades 2 through 6, registration is required. Please go to the library events calendar. A porch pop-up art exhibit will be held on August 23rd, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. at the James Bradley, with a sound meditation program at 1 p.m. There is currently a call for all local artists to submit your work. No fee to participate, and all visual artwork is welcome. Finally, the Arts Council just rejoined Monmouth Arts and will utilize the member benefits of this county arts organization. Okay, the Fletcher Lake Commission met on July 10th. The Fletcher Lake Commission wants to express its appreciation for the coordinated efforts by both Neptune Township and Bradley Beach DPWs and mayors in effectively managing its lake levels during the early July storm. Swift and smart action quickly curbed any possible flooding. The commission looks forward to meeting with the Sylvan Lake Commission to discuss concerns and best practices as we see increased weather activities and watershed maintenance. They have canceled their August meeting and will meet again in September. And now on to recreation. The rec camp had an awesome game of kickball last week. Cops and counselors versus campers. And guess who won?
Cops.
Campers, wow, in a 10-6 victory. Thanks to the super amazing police department for coming and playing with the kids. Today they had a visit from Oceans Rock. Campers learned all about the ocean and even got to see and touch some coral, sharks, blowfish, and stingrays. Each camper got their very own ocean fossil to take home. Mahjong Open Play runs every Friday, 1 to 3 p.m. at the Biazzi Center. Radio Bingo will be held on August 2nd, 6 p.m. at the Fire Hall. This rec event is co-hosted by the Ladies Auxiliary of the Bradley Beach Fire Department. Tickets are on sale now. Please contact Courtney Pappas to purchase your ticket. Be sure to check July's Salted Soul Yoga program, which can be found on the rec webpage under Beach Yoga with Salted Soul. Recreation continues its 4th annual Back to School Bingo, where any school-aged child can come to the Bradley Beach Rec Center on August 17th from 6 to 8 p.m. and play a few games of bingo. Every child in attendance will go home a winner with a great appropriate backpack filled with school supplies. The rec department has purchased 150 backpacks, which were generously donated by the Bradley Beach residents. Now they need to fill them. An Amazon wish list was created for those who would like to support the effort. Donations can also be dropped off at the Bradley Beach Recreation Center. The rec board's next meeting is Monday, July 11th, 6:30 PM at the rec center. And finally, I just want to send a personal shout out of thanks to the governing body, mayor and council, for approving the Monmouth Avenue block party permit. Paul and I were both in attendance there. We had 120 residents. It was a wonderful community event, and we also want to thank the police department and the DPW for helping set up for this. So thank you. That's it.
Thank you, Councilwoman. I'll turn to Council President DeNoble.
Alrighty, tourism met on July 8th. The season has officially kicked off and it's going very well. They have also set the dates for Pirate Day, August 16th. They also set the date for Viva Bradley Beach, which will be September 13th. And Jazz Fest in February of 2026 will be February 6th through the 8th. The current balance in their trust is $91,000. They have so many great events that Amy wanted me to share with you. Tuesday nights doing swing dance lessons at the beach. Tomorrow, Jazz in the Park featuring String Bean, our very own Bradley Beach resident. Thursday, Brookdale beach concerts. Friday, you got DJ J at the beach. And then this Saturday, they have dual fiddles with E. Burrow Bandit in the park. And also Thursday, I want to add too, Amy created this new thing, Bubble Show, with face painting and music. It's geared for young children. It's in Riley Park at between 3 to 5. Shade Tree had their meeting July 2nd. They have 2 applications. 600 Ocean Park Avenue is removing 1 tree, planting 1 tree. 309 Brindley is removing 3 trees, planting 6 trees. And I want to thank them for that effort. And they're going to do the borough-wide tree planting September 28th. Their trust account is now $15,200. And Board of Ed met June 24th. I did not get to report on that last time because I had laryngitis. So they appointed David Tonzola once again as the school business administrator and board secretary. They were awarded a grant for $88,000 to create an ADA compliant playground. And they also discussed about the church bell, and they're looking forward to having that in their school grounds. And they also continue the tradition of collecting coins, and now they use it to go to Washington, DC. So it's been a wonderful tradition, and I want to thank Paul again for preserving a piece of Bradley Beach history. Thank you. And
Thank
then
you.
please, Barbara. Swan.
Thank you, Council President. Councilman Nowicki.
Yeah, the police activity, the last 2 weeks, a subject was arrested and charged with a disorderly conduct and defiant trespassing after police responded to a report of a squatter on a Main Street resident's porch. A 19-year-old subject was charged with possessing a false ID after police found him in possession of a fraudulent New Jersey driver's license, making him over the age of 21. Another local resident was charged with defiant trespassing after police responded to an unwanted guest call for service. An Ocean Grove man was arrested and charged with theft after he was observed stealing a cell phone out of a bag belonging to a beachgoer who was resting. Another beachgoer observed this and notified the lifeguards, who in turn notified the police. Our special officers located and detained the subject, and the investigation revealed he did in fact steal the phone. Police want to remind everyone to please keep all your valuables well hidden and hard to get to. And always be aware of your belongings and report any suspicious behavior you might observe. So just don't leave things out in the open on the beach, and hopefully you don't take too many valuables down there with you. But there are people out there lurking about, and keep your eye on your things. With the assistance of the Asbury Park Police Department, a subject was also arrested on an outstanding warrant stemming from an assault incident. The individual had been on the run for about a month before finally being apprehended. Our canine units were deployed for the annual fireworks event and to ensure a safe environment. The show went on without any incidents. And the police also arrested 2 subjects on active contempt of court warrants during the last 2 weeks. That's the police activity report. First aid, I would like to report that the operational period ending July 15th, the squad responded to 15 day calls 8 night calls, for a total of 24 calls. 12 are for medical, 9 for fire. 3 calls involved water rescues. The squad provided mutual aid to Avon, Ocean Grove, and Neptune. The squad provided medical overwatch for the following 4th of July fireworks display. The Army 63 National Guard, band, concert in Riley Park, and the Jack Wright Memorial Lifeguard Swim Saturday and Sunday conducted 1 drill for the safety and education of the membership. The squad requested no mutual aid for this operational period. The squad fulfilled 100% of their assignments for this operational period. And they're still looking for volunteers for the first aid squad. We offer free training for qualified individuals. This is the advertisement. Anyone wishing to volunteer for the first aid squad, applications can be found on the borough's website. And then I'd also like to report on Sylvan Lake Commission. Tomorrow is our meeting. As you noticed, we were talking about projects earlier today, the Sylvan Lake Outlet Gate. There are multiple, about half a dozen different projects that are going to be going on at the lake. So come to the meeting tomorrow if you'd like to hear more. But there are also, we'll be doing some workshops here in the near future, based on what comes out of the commission recommendations and the projects as they start to get developed. And then we're also looking to have a public awareness session, probably early August, that will highlight the projects and the need and purpose of what needs to happen for Sylvan Lake restoration. So it's a big program. It's going to have to critical for the health of the lake and for the future of that lake. So if you are interested, please come out tomorrow and stay tuned for the upcoming information as we put it out there. Mayor, that's our report.
Thanks. That's what time the Silver Lake Commission meeting is?
7 p.m.
7?
Yes,
It's here, Pollard. Yeah,
it's here.
thank you, Councilman Nowicki. For my report, I want to start out by also congratulating Mr. Nishamkin. Just, it's an honor to be part of the governing body that was able to make you the appointment to be our historian. So thank you for everything you do for the borough, Paul. I did want to mention a couple things. One, a month or 2 ago, we assembled a financial task force. That group of 8 individuals, I see Peter here, and I see Rick here. Anyone else? At least 2 of our 8 members are actually here tonight. Thank you. But we are making slow progress because there's an awful lot for us to organize. But only recently we've collected some very important information from PNC Bank. We're continuing to collect more, and from some other vendors. And anyone who may recall the Fred Ebeno report, one of the concerns raised was that we had these 26 accounts that the borough didn't know about. I, as mayor coming in, did not know about, but we discovered it, and we are tracking the history of those accounts. So making slow but steady progress. I just wanted to let everybody know. Our business administrator mentioned this, but I want to reinforce that we are beefing up code enforcement. And with an eye towards the newest hire, Matt, as you mentioned, moving him from current part-time to a full-time position. We really want to begin to do a better job of being more consistent in our follow-up on code. And a very important early project that we are asking our new person to take on is in fact the coordinating with Host Compliance. And for those of you who may recognize that name, Host Compliance is the entity that tracks Airbnb, VRBO, and other entities that do short-term rentals. We have an ordinance that at least begins to monitor short-term rentals, gives them guidelines for operation. For example, that they have to have 6.5 day stays, that they have to complete landlord registrations and so forth. Problem with our ordinance is it's voluntary compliance. If people don't tell us they are a landlord, that they are renting their property, we're only gonna find out if a neighbor complains or something, but we don't have a way to overtly, aggressively track that. Host Compliance is an entity that tracks advertisements, listings for short-term rentals, and they track, when we hire them, as we have, they track all rental activity, short-term rental activity in Bradley Beach, and they identify right down to the address who's renting, and then they match up they're tracking against our landlord registration list. And what we expect to find is 50 or 100 folks renting that are not registered landlords. So we're getting close, as Matt mentioned in his report. We hired an intern who's gonna help us make sure we've got a list that can be used by host compliance to do that match. But that's a very significant undertaking that I'm proud to announce the borough is making really good progress. Hopefully within the next week or two, we'll have that match completed and we'll be able to automatically send out notices to those who are not compliant, because all of their addresses will be coded into host compliance. They will be able to send automatic letters of non-compliance to those individuals. My next few things are, I realized I was writing out things I wanted to mention, and one overriding theme of this is the amazing collaboration and coordination this borough has received from our employees and our volunteers, led by the police and DPW, fire, first aid, OEM. So I just want to say that, please note that as I go through this quick checklist of things I wanted to mention. But I probably didn't fully appreciate it as a resident. I probably didn't fully appreciate it as a councilman for the past 4.5 years. And I probably didn't fully appreciate it even in my first 6 months as mayor. But I just continue to be amazed at the collaboration we have among our employees and volunteers. For example, July 4th weekend, phenomenal event. I mean, I was there with family, with grandchildren. There were all kinds, what people don't know, what I personally have not seen, is the amount of coordination and collaboration between all those entities. OEM, police, fire, first aid. I'm sure I'm forgetting somebody. DPW, of course. Identifying areas that, where the command posts would be, and how they have people in certain designated areas, how they manage the traffic in and out, and so many things. It was very impressive. I mean, I think I was handed a 15 or 20 page binder by Bob Pearsall, who's sitting here. So thank you, Bob. But the amazing amount of coordination done by this group, and Norm Goldfarb, I should mention as well, was just phenomenal. And of course, the event itself was great entertainment for all. Moved to the concert in the park this past weekend. Just a phenomenal show, a beautiful evening. The weather cooled down, it was so comfortable, great entertainment. But once again, you look around and DPW, the work they did setting up, breaking down, the police and so forth, just phenomenal effort there. I wanted to call out the parking. I mean, we talked about it earlier, how we rearranged parking. What people don't really appreciate is the police were involved giving up the 15-minute parking spaces. The police are still involved reaching out to the state to make sure we get all the formalities approved there. DPW and the work they've done, helping us figure out the configuration of the parking, figuring out where we put signs, where we don't put signs. Fire and first aid, giving the borough access for borough employees to some of the parking up by the banquet hall. The collaboration among all these individuals is just amazing, and so few people probably have a full appreciation of that unless you're me right in the middle of all this. So I just want to call all of these people out for the work they've done. And maybe a very small illustration of collaboration and sacrifice by our employees is what I say for last. But we now have, the Borough of Bradley Beach have a shared service agreement with the Bradley Beach Elementary School. Now, that might sound a little odd, you don't typically think about sharing services within Bradley Beach. But the superintendent there, Michael Heidelberg, came to us and said, hey, would you guys consider a shared service with lawn maintenance and maybe snow removal and things like that you, the borough, do for the borough? You don't do it for us. But we currently pay, for example, $4,000 for lawn maintenance. And they itemized it, this much for mowing the lawn, this much for moving trash, this much for mulching, but they are currently paying $4,000. And they said, would DPW be able to take any of this on? I talked to Biagio Cavone and he said, yeah, my guys, without overtime, just built into their existing schedules, my guys are going around town with all the right equipment. We can stop at and deal with the needs for the elementary school. And we didn't quote unquote price that out or anything. We just said to the elementary school, listen, you're paying 4,000. Would you pay the borough 2,000? You're saving 50% of your costs. You're saving taxpayers, school taxes, $2,000. And you're giving the borough revenue of 2,000. You're saving our residents' taxes from the borough, the equivalent of 2,000. So in total, we're saving taxpayers $4,000 thanks to the outreach by the elementary school to ask us if we could collaborate. And thanks to the selfless, generous coordination offered by our DPW, Biagio Cafone and his team. Because even though it's small dollars, I think it's a powerful just realization how people in this borough are working together to help the borough. So with that, I'll conclude my report, but I just want to make sure everyone understood the support we have as a borough. With that said, I will move to item 14 on the agenda, opening up to public comments and questions. Rick.
It's quick. Rick Bartolome, 116 Newark Avenue. Three things. First of all, just everybody know that there is now food on the weekends on the concession stand in Newark Avenue with the trailer, and its prices are very competitive as compared to some of the other concession areas, so it's something to look at. Second of all, I want to thank for the going out of the bids for the financial analysis for the sewers here. So I know that's the bids is scheduled to come in on August 6th. And lastly, just to keep it open for everybody, just want people to understand that I'm still looking at trying to get the telephone pole wires looked at. And phone call to be made to Ocean Grove, probably way down on the list of things to do to start maybe doing something in that area. That's it.
Before you go,
Business administrators are coming too, John. Go ahead.
did you at least get a sandwich named after you at the concession? Because I think you deserve that. You should ask them, so I'll name a sandwich after you.
No, Anthony he works during the regular week. I think he's an attorney. So he can't do that during can't open it up during the week. But he's also trying to amend the menu to have breakfast there. He has some breakfast items now, but he's gonna be very flexible and trying to see what people want to buy, and then he'll have that.
Rick, two things. One, our BA, I think, Matt, did you have a comment?
Yes, about the wires.
Yes.
Particularly in Ocean Grove. So, it wasn't done by the municipal government.
Oh, okay.
It was actually an individual who took it on themselves. Mostly a grassroots way of doing it. And, they started with, one side of the block. And little by little, they made progress throughout. So we don't want necessarily that. We want to do everything at one time. But so we're already talking with them about how they were able to massage that, because again, on the telephone pole, there could be a variety of different cable providers. I mean, obviously electric's on all the way on top, that's out of the way, but so there's Verizon. You could find some Sprint lines, WorldCom, MCI, if no one remembers them, like, they're still out there. And there is a process to get them, which is a good thing. So, if Ocean Road can do it, there's no reason why we couldn't do it better.
That's why I brought it up.
So we are working on it, but it's not as if the municipal government did it. So we're gonna have to do it as I think the most effective way was the way they did it was, which is, going directly to the BPU and working through whatever companies are still around to remove those dead wires. And also the ones that aren't dead, to clean them up, so they're not sagging and hanging.
Rick, one other quick comment. As of this morning, we've been in touch with the concession on Newark Avenue because there actually are a couple of applications they still need to go through. I've talked to the owner directly. In fact, one of the issues is they need to upgrade their electric, and the borough, I've communicated, will absorb that cost for our concessionaire. But because of a couple of quick inspections that still need to be done, around different elements of their operation for their own safety, health and safety. They probably won't be cooking this weekend. They will, the expectation is they will be for the rest of the summer, but it's gonna be tight for this weekend, just so you know, just so you're not disappointed looking for that,
Tuesday,
that Rick burger.
the Rick burger, yeah.
Okay, other questions or comments? Yes, sir. Mr. West.
Hi, Bob West, 518 North. Quick question. Seasonal code enforcement. Does that mean part of your not enforcing code? When you say it would be seasonal all the time.
He's currently a seasonal part-time employee. Okay. His job is code enforcement. As Mayor mentioned, the goal is to make him full-time.
Okay.
But when he's not here, we have other individuals enforcing code. Seasonal suggests
Yeah.
peak
Okay,
period.
Okay. Second, this is a generalized question. Does the water level at Sylvan Lake seems extraordinarily low when you walk past the lake. Is that the normal level? Is that going to be the normal level?
No, there's significant problems with the lake. There's up to 7 foot of silt sediment that's collected over the years. That's part of the problem. The lake is very unhealthy. And so a series of projects we're looking at to improve that. The water level is controlled based on, rain, storm events. And then depending on whether or not we're gonna have significant rainfall, we drop the water level in order to accommodate the flow coming in. And then if we know that there's a dry spell, we basically retain water. The DPW manages the lake level. But the biggest problem is that there's so much silt in that lake, and then you only have so much freeboard above that. And so what's happening is the bottom of that lake is, like I said, is filled up to approximately 7 feet of fill. Minimizing how much water we can actually store in that lake. And so we're looking at all the projects that we need to do to basically restore the health of that lake, including looking at a water quality channel or some form of excavation dredging.
So would the target level be higher?
No,
Ultimately?
well, what would happen is your bottom of the lake would get deeper. And so you'd be able to have a deeper water level with maintaining so the top of the water being the same level.
From, okay. To the water level is now 4 or 5 feet down.
There's
The roof is malfunctioning, so like, is that making it lower now?
Well, there's water that leaks, but we've also put plastic up there trying to, so there is a water level management. But there is an optimum level of water that needs to be maintained in there at a certain height of that water. And so, what if, like, 2 days ago, we're expecting a big rainfall that was coming. So they allow the water level to drop because we know there's gonna be a big storm event. Sometimes that storm event happens and sometimes it doesn't. So it's a management issue of. And the biggest problem is that there's not enough depth. In that lake.
So if you took the silt away, the water would be deeper, but the top level water would still be. We would 4 feet down.
Well, right, you wanna maintain it based on a certain freeboard, based on potential storms that coming in. And to be quite honest, we're not sophisticated enough with the understanding of the overall watershed coming down from Neptune Township and up in Neptune, city, all the way from Lake Alberta, water flow comes down, as well as coming from Avon and Bradley. And so that whole watershed has an impact depending on the water's released from Lake Alberta and, Monmouth County and the, Neptune Township are actually studying to try to figure out what is going on up there and how that water is impacting us. And so it's a more complicated problem than just the lake. It's about what's coming into the lake. And how to manage all
I
that.
was just curious, compared to like Fletcher Lake, where the water's averaging 1 to 2 feet below.
Below the tidal grade.
Yeah.
So are you saying with the bulkhead by
Anywhere.
the west side,
along
where
Bradley,
that's
no,
a
there's
big,
like the north end along Bradley Boulevard. if you go
Right,
there,
there's a
and
big
where-
drop.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But if you go to Ocean Avenue, you have less of a head than you do up at over by Main Street. You get a lot more freeboard at Main Street because the road is up higher, go down to Ocean, but if you think about the elevation. You have a higher wall at Main Street than you do down but the water level is basically at the same elevation. So you do this variation.
We're always be at one level. Okay. All right, just always curious. Thank you.
But you know what, come down to the lakes of the meeting, you'll learn a lot. There's a lot going on there.
Other questions or comments from the audience? Anyone on Zoom? Okay, seeing no one, I will close. Oh, Mr. Shank, that was quick.
Paul DeChamp, 411 Lorraine Avenue. One final word about the church, although I'm sure the subject is going to come up in the future. John, thank you for venting a bit after being kept silent for too long. And for the public and council, John only told half of the story. As far as grant money, you don't want to know right now what I was told about grant money by the former administration, which was very available. You knew it, and they kept it. Anyway, in addition to the bell, one of the projects that the Historical Society is taking on is we're taking a whole load of bricks from the site, which we're gonna clean up, and we're gonna be fundraising with them. And there's already a great deal of interest among former parishioners of the Methodist Church. I wish they'd gotten really involved years ago. Might be able to say that they seem to have been in the dumps from the beginning, having their parish really taken away from them by the United Methodists. But they're now showing up, and I'm in daily communication with several of them who are very excited about having an event, and the Historical Society will have one fairly soon, where we will show all the different artifacts that we've pulled out of the church. Thanks to the council and the mayor for letting us do that. We have two small stained glass windows we will be displaying. The two large ones that we have taken out are too large to display, and they will be in storage, hopefully for not forever, but until we have a place where we can show something that's 15 feet tall by 11 feet wide. We have mostly in storage. However, we pulled out a lot of other things, including, as you know, the cornerstone, pews, and we've also had artifacts from 10 years ago before the United Methodist Church lost the church to the Campaigning Association. And that exhibit will probably be in the next month or two. Thank you again for all your help.
Thank you. Now, seeing no further hands, comments, questions, I will close public comment and move, and there is no executive session, so I make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Thank you, everyone.
How do they get that? The M&Ms?